Hello, I'm Danny.
And I'm Jake.
And this is Marvel Talk. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Marvel Talk. We are finally here. It's 2019.
Yes, we're flashing back to the past. We missed out on some talking about some movies last year. Some big movies, some big name stuff. Some stuff we already did talk about, but for the most part, these movies are all going to be, it's our first time speaking about them, I think.
Some of them, yeah. And like we were just talking the other day when we were hanging out, Jake, that last year was a good year for movies.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Like, crazy good. We got 5 superhero movies. Is that right? 4 or 5?
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
Just comic book movies, yeah. And then like the latter, definitely more.
Yep. And then a lot of endings, a lot of new beginnings, a lot of finales, but we got some new jumping off points for other stuff.
Yeah, so today we'll be ranking those films, and in release order they are Alita Battle Angel, Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, Shazam, Dark Phoenix, Spider-Man Far From Home, Joker, and Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. And we've talked about we talked about all these movies, except for Rise of Skywalker. That'll be coming real soon once Shelby's situation is all good to go. We'll drop an episode for that. Yeah. But before we begin, I got some honorary mentions because we never mentioned them on the show, but I figured, we should talk about them real quick. First one being Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Oh, that one I ended up seeing.
Yeah, great film. Third film into this Godzilla franchise going on. Just the CG's just ridiculous in this one.
Crazy good in that movie. I had to say I enjoyed all the effects of all the monsters and stuff. I definitely think Rodan had the best scene in terms of like human to Titan interaction. I think Rodan had probably the best part. Oh yeah,
easily.
Just any flap of his wings, just sucking people up into tornadoes. That was awesome.
Yeah. I thought it was nice that there was some original kaiju designs in the movie at the end.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I wish we could have seen a little bit more of some of them, like the giant crab guy would have been cool. I was a little confused as to why not all of them showed up at the very end. I mean, I know why Kong didn't show up. He just slept in.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact of them getting to that location, to New York.
Yeah.
I think they showed on one of the TVs there was a mammoth kaiju.
Yeah, that one looked super sick. I was like, whoa, that one's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Give me more of that.
Most of the plot was pretty good. There was some of the stuff that's just like, you know what? I don't need stranger girls running
Stranger
around.
Things girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Millie Bobby Brown was not the best part of this movie. No, not at all.
No, she was just the name to attach to this, just like the others.
Yep.
But hers was the least interesting. And her mom in the movie were just, this is just literally to move the plot forward and nothing more.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. But other than that, the teasers for the next film, which is actually this year as well, Godzilla vs. Kong, is me very hyped. That's in May, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty cool to see the amount of lore that they threw in for King of the Monsters as well.
That was some good stuff, man. I loved when Ken Watanabe's character goes down in those like ruins.
Yes.
And then they see like all these pictures of like other kaiju and stuff. It's pretty interesting. I like this monster universe they're building up. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's shaping up real nice.
All special effects are great. I like that you actually get to see the monsters fight in this one compared to the first movie.
Yeah. Less smoke, right?
Yeah. Less smoke and mirrors, more actual CG. Yeah. Now that they just got to actually film a fight during the daytime.
They could easily do it because Kong Skull Island did it like pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm like. Yeah, do what Kong Skull Island did. Give me some more daytime fights.
Yeah, more Kong Skull Island, less Cloverfield, right?
Yes, yes.
Cool, man. And I have one more honorary thing. We mentioned One Piece before on the show, but we never talked about it. One Piece Stampede came out last year. That was
Cool.
the latest movie, and it was pretty cool. It's a fun time. It definitely has some problems with it, like, oh, it has generic anime movie problems.
Oh, okay.
But overall, really good stuff. The action's just amazing. This is the same studio that did the Broly movie.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so their fight scenes are going to be top notch.
Yeah, and I have to give them. I like one of the reasons I like this movie a lot as well is it really it just starts up. You know, like while the credits are still rolling in the beginning, plot's already moving, and then like not even 20 minutes in, I would say, like you're already into the action.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great to see a bunch of the cast again and characters interact that never interacted with each other. That was a great time. And this is one of those movies where, man, like it's not canon, but the stuff in the movie can definitely be canon easily.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that was pretty
Nice.
cool. And speaking of canon, yeah, they introduced a character in the movie that showed up before on a TV special. So it's
Okay.
kind of like, oh, this is like a movie's canon character, which they've kind of done before with ideas from other movies, kind of overlapped with each other. So that's interesting. Like the movies have its own separate.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the movies are like a concurrent universe in a way.
Yeah, because I know that there was two movies back to back that had the same weapons in them, and it's like, oh, those aren't in the anime or the manga, so like this is just for the movies. That's interesting.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah, and of course, just like the past three movies, this movie was also Oda worked on it as well, the mangaka for One Piece. So that's how you already know it's got quality to it. Yeah.
Cool.
They just, again, there's certain decisions towards the end where it's like, look at that bad CG and like giant, villain at the end. It just kind of takes it down for me. Because in the beginning it was just like pretty, like it reminded me of the original Broly movie, like once he goes legendary Super Saiyan and just starts wrecking all the Z fighters. Like that's how the movie started. And,
jeez.
yeah. And then just to have it end with like, oh, he just turned giant and there's tornadoes,
Oh, that's kind of lame.
Yeah, that's just the anime problem there. But
yeah, doesn't know how to power balance. But hey, what's new?
But yeah, there's some super cool stuff in here involving other characters. Have to give it up to my boy Usopp, man. He was so strong in this movie.
Yeah, Usopp, my boy.
Yeah, he's the boy.
I was gonna say, if there's one One Piece character I cosplay, it'd be Usopp. 100%.
Yeah, Usopp's great. You would pull off a good Brook, Jake. Like whenever you get into One Piece and check it out.
Yeah, well, whoever that character is.
Yeah. Come on, man! It's time, dude.
I only know season 1, bro. Season 1 American dub, baby. 4 kids.
Yeah, that's a classic right there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's One Piece Stampede. It's coming out on Blu-ray in like a few weeks. I'm very hyped to grab that on Blu-ray. Yeah.
Nice.
Any movies you want to bring up, Jake, before we move forward?
The only other movie that obviously isn't on this list is like I would say it's a movie. It's not like a nerdy movie. But I really just want to shout out Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I saw that movie back, when did it come out? In the summer? I think in like July or June or something like that.
Yeah, around there.
It was just so dang good. All the shots are so well, all well planned out, and everything's got such good detail in the set design, and I love the story. And if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil it because the ending is absolutely like amazing. It's Quentin Tarantino at top form throughout the whole thing. The Bruce Lee scene is hilarious. Even if other people say that it's not, it's still pretty funny. At least to me, it is. Yeah, Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio both killed it. It's just a really wonderful, happy movie that's just got a lot of really good feelings behind it, and it's a good love letter to old Hollywood stuff. So check it out if you haven't seen it. That's my recommendation.
Yeah, I just don't need to watch it myself. I got it right here on my shelf, just waiting to get thrown in there.
Man, yes. check it out as soon as you can. It's great. And it's long, like it's like 2 hours and 45, but it doesn't feel long. Like the pacing on it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, Tarantino. It's definitely not anywhere near as long feeling as Hateful Eight. Because that one just it drags forever. I love you, Tarantino. Man, that movie just continues and doesn't stop. And this one has a good end. This one's got a good end point.
Nice.
Kurt Russell does some good acting and some voiceover throughout the movie, so he's pretty good in it too, as well. A lot of good Tarantino actors, all over the thing. So it's good stuff, man.
Nice. And I guess the final movie we could bring up before we start is another non-nerd movie, Uncut Gems.
Oh, yeah, of course. Adam Sandler, baby.
Yeah, just wow. What a film.
When did you get to see it?
I saw it. When did I see it? Oh, I saw it the last day of ALA.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I know me and my buddy Franklin, we got to go out around the same time that our friend Eric did too. We went out to LA to see a special preview of the movie that was like before it had released in mainline theaters anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up finding out that was actually the world premiere weekend of the film, which I had no idea about. But we managed to score some tickets to go see Uncut Gems with the Safdie brothers doing a Q&A along with Adam Sandler at the end of the movie, which was awesome. And we got to hear a whole bunch about how they produced the movie and all that kind of stuff. So it was really fun, and it added a lot to the experience of seeing the movie for the first time.
Yeah, I wish I could have gone out there for that Q&A.
Yeah. Oh man, you would have loved it. Adam Sandler was in a hockey jersey. I was like, yep, that's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect Adam Sandler right there.
Yeah, he won the award for best male lead for the I forgot which award it was. It was like independent.
Yeah, I think it was something like that. Yeah. It definitely wasn't the Oscars.
But he had his speech, and I thought, I'm like, oh, this is perfect. It's very Adam Sandler. It's great.
Yep, he's every interview thing I've seen with him talking about Uncut Gems has been just absolutely hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
He just seems like a nice older guy now these days.
Yeah, very wholesome. Yeah,
he was one of the interviews I was watching. He was saying he's sad that his kids can't go see this movie.
Oh yeah.
Like his kids are like, when do we get to see it? And he's like, never.
Yeah, man. I don't really want to get into it because it can get spoilery towards the end. But
oh yeah, there's some big moments.
Yeah, like I didn't get the ending spoiled for me, and that was pretty crazy. For how it ended.
Yeah, for going in on that first night and not knowing how the movie was going to end or anything, I was blown away, man. Whew. Still probably one of the most shocking endings of a movie I've seen in a while.
Yes.
So,
and it was very satisfying, like, after thinking about the movie, and it's like, yeah, it really had to end this way, because any other way just would have not been the best.
Yeah. Well, it's like, the brothers themselves said it at the showing. They were like, this is, first and foremost a parable. So it's going to have one of those kind of endings.
Yeah.
And that's the most I'll say about it.
And shout outs to the rest of the cast. They were really good in this as well. Also, like, Kevin Garnett, surprisingly, he didn't have a lot of screen time, but the scenes he were in were great.
Legit. Yeah, he was surprisingly good. Man, Julia Fox though.
Yeah.
Brand new. This was like her first major role, and she killed it. Like, I thought she was awesome the whole way through. So I'm excited to see her in more stuff in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she killed it. Yeah, her and Sandler scenes were great. My favorite scene is definitely with Sandler and Garnett, when it's Sandler explaining how his version of what an athlete is, right, to a jeweler.
Yes.
That's my favorite scene probably of the movie.
That's how I win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know the scene where he first gets the the object.
Yes.
Near the beginning. That one, and he first looks at it. That one's a good meme.
Yeah, that's definitely a tone setter. I listened
Yeah.
to some people to like some reviews on it, and they were just like, "Oh yeah, it took my parents to see this movie," and then when that scene happened, they're like, "This is an Adam Sandler movie? I thought this was." Yeah, it was good.
No,
Good
it's
stuff.
not. It's not one of his movies. He's just in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Of course, soundtrack was amazing as well. Really fits. Really sets up the tone for the movie like perfectly with all the scenes.
Very well done. Hats off to the Safdie brothers, man. You guys should have had some type of attention at the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I guess I'll shout out the one other movie that I really, really enjoyed last year that wasn't a comic booky movie. The Lighthouse was really, really good.
That's right. Yeah.
The Lighthouse was great. Done by the same director who did The Witch, which was also a really good horror movie. But this one, not so much horror. It's more just like a character drama piece with horror elements. Is more what I would say it is. Nice and weird atmosphere. Love the aspect ratio it's shot at. It's all in black and white. Just a really well made movie, and Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson just freaking kill it for being the only people in the movie. They really keep it interesting. Like having them argue at each other, and then Willem Dafoe, he's got fart jokes. It's a wonderful movie, man. It's great. Yeah. The ending is a little on the nose with what the interpretation is, but it's still a fun one. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, that's another one I need to check out that I missed on.
Yes, our good buddy Eric Lees started off not liking it and then slowly turned around on it the more times he saw it, which is really funny.
Nice.
But that's my only other one I can think of from last year. That's
cool,
not
man.
Specifically on our list.
Yeah, just I figured we should talk about some films that we're not really going to get deep into on the show that we really like.
Yeah.
So yeah, got to change it up every now and then.
Oh, I will say I did watch the Star Wars Holiday Special last year for the first time all the way through. It is definitely not great. It's very interesting. I may talk about it more once we get to Rise of Skywalker. But yeah, not my favorite. It was really goofy. For the time period it came out, it probably was fine. And it's not a Christmas special. It is a Thanksgiving special.
I see.
Yeah. Originally aired in November of 1970 or whatever. I think like 78, I think is when it came out.
Yeah, that sounds right.
But famously the special that George Lucas said that if he could find every copy, he'd smash every copy with a hammer.
That's funny.
Which totally makes sense because this feels like something he didn't get any creative input on at all. But Han Solo tricks a stormtrooper into falling through a railing and off the Wookiee's house. So, I mean, that's kind of funny.
Cool, man. All right, but I think that'll wrap us up for honorary mentions, and we can get into the bulk of the episode. Just want to say I saw this right now on Twitter. I guess it got announced today. The working title for Spider-Man 3 got revealed.
Oh yeah, it's another Seinfeld.
Serenity Now.
Field.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now there's a new movement. I just saw on Facebook. Jason Alexander should be Uncle Ben, and I'm just like, stop it right now.
Tobey Maguire should be.
Tobey Maguire is Uncle Ben. Stop it, everyone. Don't get this Jason Alexander nonsense out of here. But they're saying that he should be Uncle Ben because him and Marissa Tomei had fling on Seinfeld as characters on there. So,
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Wouldn't be my first choice, but
right.
I guess the memes would be ripe, and that's Disney's whole thing right now is memes, right? Like, it's the only reason we went and saw Endgame, right? It's for the memes.
Well, I mean, that's why I went back to rewatch the film was to get a clear focus on the memes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
But yeah, I just saw that right now, so I figured bring it up. With that, let's get into it, man. So
Yeah.
there's a total of 8 films. The only one you haven't seen is Dark Phoenix, correct, Jake?
Yes, that's my only one I haven't seen.
Okay.
But I am still putting it on the list higher than another movie, even if I haven't seen it.
All right, all right. So let's go ahead and start off with our number 8. I'll go ahead. It's pretty obvious if you've listened to the show. It's Captain Marvel.
Yeah, that's also my number 8 as well.
All right, yeah, perfect.
Yeah, it's we match on this one, man. This is man, it had been a very long time since I had to get up multiple times to get more beer to make it through a movie. I think I maxed out the amount of times I could actually go back at the
really?
particular AMC me and my buddy went to. Yeah, and I ended up having 4 drinks over the course of the film. And I don't feel like I missed anything in the plot. I don't even remember what parts I left at.
Yeah, this movie, as the days go longer, I forget more and more. Just really nothing substantial in this film. Nothing really to like.
It's such a shame because Nick Fury and Captain Marvel is actually a pretty good combination of characters in terms of like how you could characterize them and stuff, where like Nick Fury doesn't have anybody who's really a friend of his, and the only person who's his friend is a person who's completely lost like her past. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And instead they just don't do anything with that.
Yeah, no, I mean there's just so much that they could have done with Captain Marvel. Yeah, her focus not being trying to get her past back in the movie is pretty disappointing.
Well, it's kind of the focus.
It kind of is,
it's
but
what,
there was
it's what the script wants to be the focus.
Yeah.
I think that's more what it is, but it's just not fleshed out. Like, what was it? That video you sent a couple weekends ago that was like the hour-long one of like the good and bad.
Marvel positive and the Marvel negative, yeah.
Yes, yeah. In that negative video, the guy brought up something very interesting as an alternate deal for Captain Marvel in one of the scenes. I think it's when she first gets to like that bar, she's seeing like these visions of herself like dancing around and stuff. And this guy made a very easy observation of a thing that they could have done with the script, where it's like she goes to the jukebox and turns on a song that she remembers, and it triggers more memories. And I'm like, yeah, why didn't they do that?
But instead, she just blows it up to prove a point.
Yeah. And then nobody pays back the owner of the bar for it.
Yeah, it just happens, and then they just move on.
They just leave. Yeah, they're just like, oh, well, I guess we'll drive out to the military base now. I mean, the cat is cute, but I gotta say that I gotta put this movie at the bottom because this thing just destroys continuity left and right in the MCU. Like, it just takes it and poops all over it. And a lot of people say that it doesn't really matter, but I don't know if this is supposed to be your new big person. You know, like, she's the first Avenger, not Captain America.
Well, I think that's why they did the big push for all that stuff. So that way she has more weight in the MCU.
I mean, yeah, but it just feels artificial, I guess.
Oh, no, clearly it does. Like, oh, she's the reason why it's called the Avengers. She's the reason why Fury wanted to make the Avengers.
Yeah.
This is
not Captain America.
No.
Not Captain America, not Ant-Man, who existed in the 70s, by the way. Actually, Ant-Man would be an Avenger before she was, because Ant-Man was work of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, there was 2 Avengers before she showed up.
Yeah. Technically 3 if you count Thor, who's been around for thousands of years.
Well, as far as being interactive with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes.
Well, technically, I guess 3 if you count Wasp as well.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But no. She's the first Avenger.
Yeah, just
still love Shelby's comment about what did you avenge?
Yeah, her nickname being the Avenger is very confusing.
How'd you get that nickname? You didn't fight any wars.
Yeah.
That one gets me every time. It's good stuff. I think there's more funny bits to pull out of this rather than like negative things, I don't know, for me. But it's not enough for me to put it high on the list because it's just so boring of a movie. Because nothing changes with Captain Marvel over the course of the film. Like,
No.
which she doesn't learn anything. And the Skrulls got completely rewritten, it felt like, halfway through the movie.
Yeah, no real structure into how they change sides in the film from being antagonist to protagonist. Definitely for me, one scene where I felt like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna feel this movie is when she's handcuffed on the Skrull ship and she's being very quippy, like Iron Man or Peter Quill. That was to me that was like, why do we have to have every character do this? It's that we don't need every character to do this.
It's like she's supposed to be not human, right? She's supposed to be more Kree at this point than human, but she's still quipping like a human and like a normal person. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
yeah. In my opinion, Captain Marvel suffered from a lot of the same problems that I had with Spider-Man: Homecoming, where I think it was made in too fast and too short of a time period. Like this Captain Marvel, much like Spider-Man: Homecoming, was made over the course of like 9 months, which is incredibly short for like $100 million big budget action adventure extravaganza. And I think that it really shows, because if this movie had actually had like a 2 or 3 year development cycle, we probably would have gotten a way better script, way better references to other stuff and in canon stuff. And they probably would have actually kept it consistent with the rest of the timeline. But instead, they didn't. And that's why it's on the bottom of my list.
Yeah, I think the big problem with the structure of how this movie came about is the fact that this wasn't originally planned to be a film, right? Like we said before in previous episodes, Civil War was going to be her debut initially. And I think having her show up in a movie before Avengers Endgame would have been a lot better, and then you could just do her origin story post Endgame, like, oh, now read how she became who she is before Endgame, kind of thing.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah, but instead we had to get it out now because we have to get the push for her 5-minute scenes in the movie, and yeah,
which have been confirmed that there was other stuff shot for her.
Oh yeah. Like there was the whole stuff on Vormir. It looked like.
Yep.
Which that would have been some interesting stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have liked seeing her actually on that planet fighting Thanos and whatnot. It's I gotta say, it's all just kind of a shame the way that it was handled. I wish it was just I honestly just wish it was better.
Captain Marvel, yeah, just
yep.
It just sucks to see it happen like that.
Yeah, hate to see it.
Yeah, I guess Captain Marvel could have been something. if we're gonna pull that out, right? Yeah.
Yeah, if we're gonna pull out the Marvel Talk meme.
Such a shame. But, so yeah, bottom of our list. Very forgettable. Yep. Not gonna remember this movie anytime soon.
No, I definitely am not going back to watch it ever.
No.
maybe once, if somebody's able to just convince me of it at some point. Maybe.
I mean, I'll watch if they drop like some deleted scenes like they've been doing recently.
Yeah.
Then I'll check those out just to see what else they were working with in the film. But that's it. Yeah.
I think it's pretty telling that there aren't a huge amount of deleted scenes, or even like a good blooper reel for Captain Marvel. Because most of these Marvel movies, they have a really nice blooper reel where it's like everyone on set's having a good time and having fun, and I don't really remember one of those for Captain Marvel.
I think I saw a few, but it's whatever.
And let me preface, none of this has to do with Brie Larson as a person. I just totally think that the movie just did not connect with me on the right levels.
No, exactly. Like I said in our Endgame reviews, I thought she was fine in Endgame for her scenes that she got.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She definitely feels different in that movie compared to her solo movie.
Well, she did the acting for that first, because they shot Endgame before they shot Captain Marvel.
But even so,
which I also think is a huge detriment to Captain Marvel as a movie.
Well, again, that's really the MCU's problem, right? Trying to fit new movies into a schedule that you already established. You know, just like with Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Spider-Man. I was gonna say Spider-Man 3 coming out next year is gonna have the same problem.
Spider-Man 3. I mean, it was. I'm pretty sure they had it planned before all this drama with Sony happened. Whether or not that's real or fake, kind of deal, right?
Well, I think Spider-Man 3 slot was originally going to be Guardians Volume 3, but they had to completely cancel Guardians Volume 3 and move it to God knows when.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because James Gunn got fired long before the Spider-Man debacle stuff ever went down. So if I had to theorize, I would say that Spider-Man 3 got shifted into Guardians slot.
That means it would have came out this year, though.
No, Spider-Man 3 comes out next year.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying if it's taking Guardians' spot, because I think Guardians 3 would have been this year, since there's only 2 Marvel films.
Would that have been this year's movie? Yeah, that's fair, that's fair.
But I pictured they probably had an idea of it being later down the line, probably a 2022, 2023 film. Probably 2022, just to not have it as far.
And with whatever agreement they made with Sony, that probably changed some stuff up.
So yeah, Captain Marvel, it's whatever. All right, so coming up next on my list, number 8, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, this is number 7.
Or number 7.
Yeah, number 8.
Oh, excuse me,
right?
7. Yeah, I miscounted. Yeah, number 7. Yeah, Rise of Skywalker for me.
Well, I have Dark Phoenix in this spot because I didn't see it. So, but
because I don't know where to put those two right on the list. But I've been thinking about Dark Phoenix, and there's as what that film did, there's at least better stuff in there than Rise of Skywalker, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, from what I heard about the movie, I would agree with you. At least it had like a cohesive story. You know what? I'm going to switch it. Rise of Skywalker is in the spot. Forget it. Like, Rise of Skywalker was just so bad. Oh, man. This is our first time talking about it, too.
Yes, yeah, we have yet to talk about it on Marvel Talk. I've talked about it before already on Unversed Podcast.
I think honestly, us taking this long to talk about it is more telling than anything else about the movie.
Yeah, scheduling aside for everybody else to talk about it,
just that we've had no drive. Like, there's been no, I don't know. There's just nothing interesting about it for me. No. I think that's the most disappointing part of it. It's just not interesting for me.
I mean, like, the only good stuff in here, I think, is with Ben Solo. That stuff was great.
Yep, I would agree. The Han Solo scene is awesome.
Yeah, it was really unexpected.
I'm also gonna say spoilers for Star Wars. If you didn't see it, you didn't see it.
If you didn't see it, then you're not gonna see it.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about it. So there. I really liked Babu Frick. He was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was a cute little character. Man, all our theories about Carrie Moss just went nowhere.
Yeah.
Why was she even in the movie?
Because it's the last movie, I guess.
Okay. I mean, I liked Red Letter Media's theory that they just wanted to get her in there to see how little they could show her face and give her a paycheck.
Yeah.
Because she's J.J. Abrams' friend from Lost. So,
oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like what's his name?
Mary from Lord of the Rings.
Yes. Yeah.
Hobbit Man, who comes out and says one line of dialogue, I think, in this entire movie, and it's about clones. It's about cloning. It's a Sith tech thing, even though it's not, because the Jedi used it first.
Right.
Man, if there was a movie that I've seen...
does he know that, though? I doubt they would know that, right? So,
I mean, I don't know. They know who Palpatine is. It's like, maybe. I honestly have no idea.
Yeah. My thoughts for this movie was they probably really should have why not just go straight to 10 films? Make a part 9, part 10. That would have really saved this movie, because this would have been the filler movie to where, like, okay, let's just do stuff that we need to do, so that way we can have a solid movie at the final end of all this. But no,
they said no.
They said no. Yeah,
somebody said no. I don't know. This one was just just it wasn't it was just too fast paced. It was too much information was being thrown at the audience too fast. It was confusing. Stuff just happened because the script needed it to happen for the most part.
Yeah.
It was like, well, Rey and her friends need to go over here, so we'll just make them go there. And then Kylo has to find them there, so he just will. And it's like, what? How? What? Like, I don't even remember how Kylo figures out to go to the planet with the Death Star on it. Like, to find Rey. I don't remember how he figured that out at all.
That's a good question.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I'm trying to think back. I'm like, how did he know to go there?
Because they fought before Rey entered the ship, or was it after she entered the ship?
After because it's after she sees like Darkseid Rey.
Right.
In the room with the Wayfinder.
That's a good question, man.
Yeah, right. Like I don't remember at all.
Because I remember how they found him last time on that other planet where Poe's from, using the stuff from Last Jedi with the Force teleportation.
Yeah, honestly, that was probably the coolest thing I think in this movie was the Force teleportation stuff. I really enjoyed all that.
Yeah, I think. I guess in the third act, that scene with Ben and Rey that they did.
Yeah, with the saber swap and like her passing him the saber. I don't know why he does the Han Solo shrug, but he does it, and then he just kills all the Knights of Ren. And I'm like, oh, okay, we got built up. That's fun.
Yeah, the Knights of Ren. Woof, what a yeah.
If I had to say one thing about Rise of Skywalker is that it's a bunch of missed opportunities. It's just such a good indicator of what the whole series kind of was, like what this whole trilogy was, is that it was just a bunch of missed opportunities. Lots of good ideas and no good executions.
Yeah, good ideas for sure. There was a few in here for that.
Do you think it could have been helped if George was still even around on it? I don't know.
I think if George was on here, I think this whole trilogy would have felt different. Probably Force Awakens would probably still be the same.
Yeah, see,
I think he'd be fine with that.
Because I remember him reporting that he really liked it, just that it didn't do anything new.
Yeah.
Was like his biggest complaint. And I don't know. This movie definitely doesn't try anything different.
I mean, I think if George was on this, we probably would have seen a Ghost Force Anakin.
Yeah,
I would hope so, because that was, I mean, like again, the Han scene was cool with Ben, but I mean, with Anakin, that would have been something.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is all that news stuff that everybody came and showed up to set one day in Jedi costumes, and they shot a bunch of stuff, and then it just got cut.
That's so crazy, man.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the Abrams cut. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get. I don't know. Now that Bob Chapek's in control too, he might go, "Hey, this is an easy way for us to make more Star Wars money before we make another movie. We can just re-release this on Blu-ray." But bam, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know if Disney wants to really pull back on their decisions, right? Like with the MCU, they got rid of alternate endings, right? Once Disney took over.
Yep, that's true. That's true. Man, what a poop show, man.
Yeah, and if there's stuff you want to learn more of, there's the books, there's the comics, right? Because I looked up about the Knights of Ren.
Don't count. Those aren't the movies.
No, I know. I know. It's just like looking up the Knights of Ren stuff, and then it's like, oh yeah, all their lore is in this comic book that and I read the wiki, and I was like, oh wow, this could have been. I mean, you really couldn't do much with it in a movie, but since they're doing Star Wars shows now.
But Danny, the EU doesn't exist.
It does when they want it to.
They don't have books and comic books and video games to pull from, Danny. Making Star Wars is hard.
I mean, there's some comics that I liked from the new stuff.
Yeah, I liked a lot of the new stuff they did with like Vader and the in between like Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi run they were doing was pretty good.
Yeah, there's a good Obi-Wan Anakin 5-issue comic that was good.
Nice. That's cool. That's cool.
I think that was before Clone Wars.
See, guys, we don't hate everything that Disney puts out with Star
Yeah,
Wars.
no, they when Disney puts out with Star
Yeah,
Wars. Yeah, no, they when they get it right, they get it right. There was a Darth Maul
yeah,
comic I read that was cool.
yeah. All that stuff's still pretty
Hmm.
decent.
Hey, I
I don't
mean,
know,
hey, we
man.
liked Solo, you know?
Yeah, come on. It's not my favorite, but at least it's like
It does
decent.
something.
Yeah, it made me feel something.
Yeah.
Maybe not something good, but it made me feel something, and that's more than I can say than for Rise of Skywalker. It just, I don't know. Rise of Skywalker just felt like it needed like another year to really like get worked on, because it's like if all the rumors were right, then they were working on that movie literally up until the day it came out in theaters.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Which, you know, nowadays they probably can because everything's digital.
I mean, yeah, like if you go watch Corridor Digital's video, they have one of the VFX managers that worked on Endgame, and he said like, yeah, we were 2 weeks out by the time we finished from the world premiere.
And that's nuts.
Yeah.
They still weren't even done up until that point.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. But yeah, it's the Rise of Skywalker, man. It's a shame.
I mean, even the big selling points for the Star Wars films is lightsaber fights, right? There's always a lightsaber in a Star Wars movie. They weren't impressive here. It still felt like we're in Force Awakens. Right?
I mean, I liked the fight on the Death Star.
That was probably the best one. Star.
Yeah, because it was the only time we've ever seen Rey like lose.
Mm-hmm.
If that, and that's not like, okay, this is to say that I think that her character just doesn't struggle and she needed to be kicked down at least once. You know what I mean? And that was the scene. And I'm like, oh, they actually did it. But then like 2 seconds later, she just wins anyway. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, she never takes any real damage in this movie.
No.
Yeah.
She never takes a full hit.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, the problem, the biggest problem where we can end it off on is the pacing for the film, right? You just keep moving forward. 100%. You know, Chewie dies. We just got to keep moving forwd.
Don't pay attention to these other things that don't make sense. There's all these other things that we have to talk about first. Like I don't know. It's like, well, why would the Empire go to the? Why would Palpatine be living out on this planet? And how did he get there? Don't worry about it. Look, here's Maz Kanata.
Yeah, so that really sucks for Rise of Skywalker. For the end of the Skywalker saga, right, as it's called.
Yeah, that's as far as I'm concerned, the end of the Skywalker saga was still episode 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm still in the lane where this movie should have been more focused on Ben Solo rather than Rey.
Yes.
But
yeah, you know, I definitely think Ben Solo should have been the main character of this series.
Yeah, but you know, Rey's the main character, so I guess.
Yeah. But hey, you know, none of these actors are coming back anyway. So
yeah, shout out to John Boyega's Twitter, cracking me up, man.
He's got some words about Star Wars, man.
Yeah, bold words, I should say. Good stuff.
All I'm saying is that Finn is good at laying pipe. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But yeah, that's we're definitely gonna do a full episode on that sometime soon.
Yep.
So
and then we'll probably talk. I would assume we'll probably talk about the leaked script ideas there.
Oh yeah, we'll get in it.
Who you know, I don't know if it would have been better, but it definitely sounds like it's got more interesting new ideas in it. But for now, if you want to see Star Wars content, go watch Mandalorian and start watching Clone Wars.
Yeah,
that's some good stuff. And I'm not gonna support that you go and watch it on Disney Plus, because there are ways to watch those things without Disney Plus. But you didn't hear it from me.
Yeah, Blu-rays will drop eventually, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, Blu-rays.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
As blue as the ocean, where ships sail.
But enough Star Wars talk for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely that's gonna be a long episode when that comes out. I could already feel it. Moving on to number 6.
Yeah.
Number 6. X-Men Dark Phoenix for me.
I'll say that this is in that spot because I switched it with Rise of Skywalker. So I'll just let you talk about it because I didn't get to see it.
Yeah, so weird placement of a film, right? Not only is it the fourth film of a trilogy, but it's also the final X-Men film, post Disney contract. Um, Watching this movie,
I mean, we got one more.
we do have one more, but I don't know if that's going to be connected or not to any of the universes that they've created over at Fox. We're talking about New Mutants, of course.
Can't wait for Tony Stark to show up at the Academy for New Mutants.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Calling it now, boys. Calling it now. Oh man! And then if those crazy rumors that you heard about Falcon and Winter Soldier are true, woof.
Yeah, those are some wild ones. Maybe we'll bring it up on the next episode. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to look them up, they're out there. You can Google them.
Yeah. But yeah, X-Men Dark Phoenix, a movie set in the 90s where our main characters from X-Men First Class are probably in their 60s, I think, by now. And they still look like they looked like in First Class. That's something. No aging whatsoever.
Mutants don't crack, man. That's the thing, right? Like,
I mean, if this is the one aspect they wanted to pull from comic books to where characters don't age, I guess that's props to them for doing that.
Right. There's your continuity with the comics. That's
just disappointing. I mean, the biggest part is the fact that the enemies are the Skrulls, but not really.
Like they were supposed to be.
Yes, they were clearly supposed to be Skrulls, but Fox decided to back out on that, and they're just shape-shifting aliens.
Well, they backed out because specifically of the other movie that we already talked about, Captain Marvel. It's coming out the same year.
Yeah.
And Disney basically told them to step it back. Like Disney came at them and said, "Hey, we're making this other movie that's literally got the same ending as your movie. Switch it, or we do something drastic."
Which is interesting because both of these universes had Quicksilver. And Fox was the one to keep it at the end. And I guess MCU got Wanda, so I guess that's the trade-off. But the fact that we still got two versions of the same character,
Yeah. And, they kind of tease Wanda.
In Apocalypse.
In First Class? Or it's in Apocalypse? Or was it Days of Future Past?
Oh, Days of Future Past. Yeah, like your sister's upstairs. Yeah.
Yeah, my sister's upstairs, but he doesn't go to get her.
This movie it just feels like, it's just happening. There's really nothing meaningful in the film.
Does it feel like that this would have been a lead into like more movies almost? Like this would have been the start of like maybe another trilogy? Because like Apocalypse, like that feels like a finale.
Oh, clearly. I mean? Yeah, we got the shot of all them in their suits. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like they finally achieved getting to their X-Men spot, which kind of circles back around to where they were at the beginning of X-Men 1, even though they're a lot younger than they were there. But everybody's in their place, by the end of that movie. Yeah. So this one had the vibe that it's like, this is the Dark Phoenix saga. Like, this is going to be the beginning of it. Like, this is the new arc for the X-Men movies. So I don't know if it has any residual, like, feeling of that.
Not really, from what I can remember, because like Captain Marvel, I'm losing. I've only saw it once, and that was, when it came out.
I mean, I barely remember what I had for breakfast like earlier this week, so you're good.
This is definitely a movie. I would probably.
It's definitely a movie.
Definitely a movie.
Danny 2020. Dark Phoenix is definitely a movie.
I mean, if we all sat down together, I would probably watch it again. But
you think we could get some X-Men Origins kind of love out of this?
Yeah, like back in WonderCon last year.
Oh yeah,
yeah, or 2 years ago now.
So what you're saying is I need to get a copy of this for when we all go to SakuraCon. Gotcha. Understood.
Yeah. I mean, there's some interesting ideas here. There's some cool scenes, mainly with Magneto using his powers. There was a great scene in the third act. I mean, the Mystique stuff. I'm glad it was over when it was. And her, if you didn't watch this movie, then you're not going to watch this movie. So spoilers ahead. When she dies in like the first 15 minutes of the movie, and the fact that that's the pivotal point, essentially, for this X-Men Civil War going on in the second half was just, yeah, just really disappointing.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah. Again, I mean, there was some cool stuff in here for sure. The way Jean Grey was turning into Dark Phoenix was a little interesting, but just the way it all ended was just not. It was just weird. I'd rather watch X3 instead.
Would you say that X3 is probably the better version of this story?
I mean,
like the best version.
They're different takes. Even though it's the writer for Dark Phoenix worked on all the X-Men films, right? This is his first script and first time directing, I believe, for this film.
Yeah, first time directing. Yeah.
Yeah, so you could definitely feel the similarities in there. But overall, I would probably watch X3 over this.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because, like, if you go back to X3, there's so many good moments with the X-Men themselves, you know?
Yeah.
And that feels like this is the end of the trilogy, whereas this one, it's like, oh, this is after a trilogy before, you know, the original trilogy. It's like in that weird middle, and it doesn't. I mean, they kind of tease stuff at the end where they could continue to another movie.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I think once the whole Disney Fox deal was going on, they were probably deciding like we're not gonna make another movie after Dark Phoenix.
That makes sense. Man, that's a shame. Because I did like that cast. I thought everybody they had picked had been pretty solid, even all the way since back in First Class. Like, like, you know, what's his face? Nicholas Hoult as Beast will always be a standout for me. He was always pretty good.
Yeah, he wasn't the best in this movie at all.
That sucks. That's a shame to hear.
Yeah, he made a lot of poor decisions.
Because he's normally pretty good, man. I normally am a pretty big fan of his work. So
yeah.
Shout out to Warm Bodies, man. Shout out to Warm Bodies.
Oh yeah, he's in that, right? That's right.
Yeah, it's a good zombie movie.
Isn't that the romance one?
Yeah. That's the one where. Have you seen it? Like
I remember when it came out. I don't think I ever.
Do you know how he like do you know what happens in it? Like at the end?
No.
Oh, so he ends up the girl and him end up falling in love, and love is what turns him back into a normal human from a zombie. Love kills the zombie virus. It's able to start people's hearts beating again and turn them back into normal people. It's pretty goofy.
That's funny.
So that's a good one. That one's a fun one. But man, that's a shame. That's a shame to hear that the actors in this didn't get their due.
Mm-hmm. Like it was cool to see because watching the movie, right? I kept thinking, okay, I remember the articles that were saying, you know, like Fassbender, Lawrence, I think James McAvoy as well. I think they all said they would only come back for this film if the script was really good. And then they all showed up. And it's like, oh, snap, so this must be a good movie. And then watching just what they did with Magneto. I mean, the Genosha stuff was an interesting idea for him to have it there, but just not... You know, they just really didn't get deep into it. Type thing? Yeah, no, like...
How long was the movie? Was it like a 2-hour or was it like an hour 45?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Here, I'll pull it up right now. But yeah, Sweet. just seeing these decisions by the characters just didn't make any sense. They made Charles the villain for majority of the film until the very end.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that, and I was like, that's kind of dumb.
Yeah, so the movie was an hour and 54 minutes, and it definitely felt longer than that.
Wow. An hour and 51 minutes. Woof.
Yeah. Yeah, barely scratching the 2-hour mark, but definitely felt longer than 2 hours.
Dang. That sucks. That sucks.
Yeah. Again, there was some cool stuff in here. Like in the beginning, there was the when the X-Men went to go save the astronauts in space. They did some cool stuff there with Nightcrawler.
Cool. Then, I heard that was a pretty fun part of the movie. So
yeah, and then when they fought Jean Grey the first time, Quicksilver got a little bit in there. You know, not as big and lengthy as his previous shots with the slow-mo stuff.
Probably not as long as any of the Sonic the Hedgehog bits either.
No, it was pretty brief. And he got wrecked super hard right after that, so he was pretty much out of commission the rest of the movie.
Sounds like he had other things to go shoot instead of X-Men. Dang, it really does sound like a movie that was kind of killed on the set. You know what I mean? Like, it just didn't get the proper due that it needed for the script. Maybe the script was way better.
Mm-hmm. So we just like in X3, we got some flashback stuff with Jean Grey, with Charles, and all that, right?
Okay.
Plays out differently than in X3.
Yeah,
but
because I remember that there was some stuff about like Charles making her forget who her parents were, or vice versa, or something.
Yeah, he erased her memories because she caused the accident that killed her parents.
He caused it, or
no? She caused it on accident when she was a child.
That's right.
Yeah, it was a car accident, and the turning point for her, for the reason why she goes full Dark Phoenix, because at this point the main alien, the fake Skrull show up, trying to convince her because she's the host of the Phoenix Force.
Yeah.
And then she reveals to her through Charles's mind, I believe, that her father actually is alive, but he was, he hated Jean the whole time because she was a mutant and she killed her mother and all that. So Charles decided it was best for her to forget about him.
Okay.
Right? And this pulls, like in the classic Toy Story motif from 1 and 2 is like, Woody's always set to look like the bad guy until everybody realizes that, like, he's actually not the bad guy because they were missing a piece of information.
Well, they do that same thing in Toy Story 3. There's just no
that too.
piece of information.
Yeah.
It's just he is the bad guy, and then they just accept him as the good guy later.
Yeah. They do that. They do that here with Charles, because he mentions that he mentions that he did that to Jean, and that he's been making these prisons in her mind to contain the memories. But what he fails to mention is that there's something else in her that's causing her to change, right? The Phoenix Force is in her and he can sense it. He doesn't mention it. And by not doing that, everybody thinks he's the bad guy for doing this to her.
Wow. That's ridiculous.
Mystique finds out about that. She really hates it. So she tells Beast. Beast is upset about that as well. And then when
for no reason, even though Beast has been like best friends with Xavier since like the beginning.
Yeah, but he's dating Mystique, so he has to take her side.
He's got a simp. That's
then Jean kills Mystique, so Beast gets angry and goes to Magneto to recruit him so they can go kill Jean Grey and all that stuff. Yeah, a lot of wild decisions in here.
Okay, a lot of out of character stuff. It sounds like too. That's
Yeah,
like that,
definitely.
Like the killing Jean thing. Like if Logan was actually in this movie, that almost feels like something that Logan would do, is go to Magneto for help before like Beast would do it. Like,
I mean, in a world where the main focus isn't Charles and Magneto, and you would have probably, I guess, recast Wolverine during Apocalypse to where he would already be with the X-Men.
Yeah.
So that way it would be a Scott versus Logan film.
Yep.
Instead of a Charles versus Magneto film. Yeah. Oh, and the funniest part of this film was Scott drops the F-bomb to Magneto when they're having the face down of the two teams and nobody bats an eye. They just kind of just like go over it. It was hilarious.
Does he just say like F you? And then like just nobody responds. Like,
yeah, he threatened Magneto and dropped the F-bomb, but he didn't yell it out. It was sort of like under his voice a little bit.
Oh,
and then they just keep talking right after that. Like it's like, okay, whatever, kid, kind of deal.
Nothing happened.
It was funny.
All right, you little 5-year-old.
Yeah, I was laughing to myself in the theater when that happened. I was like, really? That just happened and nobody cares? That's hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty telling, I think, for the movie itself then.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Cyclops said something and nobody cares. It's like, yep, yeah, it's about the whole movie.
Yeah, and it's a shame because this guy does a great Cyclops, I think.
Yeah, I liked him in Ready Player One. I think that kid's a good actor.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got potential to go places and do some cool stuff, but it's a shame that every Cyclops actor just gets kind of wasted, man.
Yeah, James Martin's too busy hanging out with CG animals, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. Really should have had him in X3, man. That would have been
that would have been so good.
Mm-hmm. Because imagine him in X3, like he would be on Jean's side. I would think, you know, and having to see that dynamic of him fighting Logan.
Can you imagine him being like possessed by a Phoenix Force like Scott Summers, and he's like he doesn't have to wear the glasses like the whole movie anymore, like because she's controlling like his. Yeah,
what if she's controlling him? You know?
Yeah, like that would have been awesome. Like if it was just an army of people that like Phoenix was controlling rather than like
and
her just being like a weird alternate thing.
It would have.
I don't know.
It would have been good too because we would have seen him and Logan fight. I think, like that. That would have been one of the big set pieces in the third act, and then just to have him, Logan keeps saying like, you're being controlled by Jean. You know, she's not the same. This and that, and then have Scott be like fully conscious as well. Like he reveals that to Logan. You know that
he's like, oh no, I know what I'm doing, Logan.
Yeah.
I've known what I've been doing this entire time.
Mm-hmm. That would have been so.
I love Jean. Do you?
That would have been good.
That would have been some good stuff. Woo.
Mm-hmm. But Dark Phoenix, I think out of the bottom 3 movies, this is one I would consider rewatching versus the other ones easily.
Because I haven't seen it at all, and I do still want to check it out at some point. So if you ever want to watch it, man, just let me know.
Yeah, I'll swing by your way one of these days. I'll grab a DVD copy or something.
We'll figure it out.
find it in the $2 bin.
Yes, yeah, like the year after it's been out in theaters.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, this movie did not make a whole lot of money from what I remember.
No, this movie bombed pretty hard.
Yeah.
But that's the way it goes sometimes. Oh, I gotta throw in here because I did see another movie from last year just recently. That kind of fits in with that motif you were talking about how Charles was storing stuff in boxes with his mental powers.
Yes, this I forgot this was in January.
Yeah, I saw Dr. Sleep, man.
Or yeah, this movie too. That's right. I was thinking of Glass. But yeah.
Oh yeah, Glass. Oh, I forgot about Glass. I haven't seen that one. But Dr. Sleep was the other one I was thinking of because it's sort of a superhero movie near the end. But surprisingly good. I'm not going to spoil too much about it because I think it's a very interesting plot. If you liked The Shining, you're probably going to like this movie. If you liked Haunting of Hill House on Netflix, you're going to love this movie. Ewan McGregor does a great job. All the other actors are pretty solid in it. The writing is great. I love the special effects. It's just a very well done Stephen King movie.
Nice. Yeah, I've only heard good things about it.
Yep. Watch the director's cut though. Don't watch the theatrical. The theatrical leaves out some pretty important dialogue bits, and even though the director's cut gets up to 3 hours, I think it's 100% worth it to watch the whole thing.
Okay.
So, yeah. And the pacing it keeps it from feeling like it's 3 hours. Like I felt like I just watched like a 2-hour movie by the end of it.
Nice.
So, yeah, great stuff. I just wanted to drop that one in there. That's not anywhere in particular on the list. It's there.
Right. So that's it for me on Dark Phoenix.
Cool.
Yeah, who knows? Because I've been thinking about rewatching the X-Men movies again.
Okay.
I kind of miss them, so maybe that would pop up on the last stretch. Like, you know what? Why not? Let's just, it's been.
Hey, who
knows?
They're good movies to toss in every once in a while. It's good to return to tradition, as they say.
Yeah, I think another deep look at that film would determine whether or not I would enjoy it. So yeah, that's it for Dark Phoenix. On to the next film, number 5. For me is Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Wow, we match. Whoa!
All right.
How crazy! I feel like our lists are going to be pretty similar. Maybe the last two might be different, but yeah, Far From Home is also my number 5 on the list.
Yeah, so this movie, the first movie post Endgame, and I mean, the highlights were definitely Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio, and the stuff that pulls this movie down for me is all the MCU stuff that happens in this film.
Yep, I gotta say, I hate, that scroll reveal at the ending is terrible. I hate it.
Oh gosh, that's the worst part of the movie.
Yeah, it honestly, the movie was pretty solid right up until the last 5 minutes for me. I hate the Mysterio scene of revealing Peter Parker's identity. I hate that so bad. Even though it did give us J. Jonah Jameson back, I don't really care because I think they completely misutilized the reveal of his identity as like as a stinger for the next movie. It's almost as dirty as like having Daisy show back up at the end of the Super Mario Brothers movie and saying, "Come on, guys, we got to go beat this other bad guy now."
Hear me out on this, Jake, because I've been thinking about this.
All right.
With the set photos for Morbius, right, of where's Spider-Man, the fact that we're getting both Venom 2 and Morbius this year, and then Spider-Man 3 next year, I was thinking maybe we could get Spider-Man 3 involving all these films and then throwing in possibly Kraven the Hunter. That's probably what they're going to do for the third film. I would think, right? Because now we know
they've been talking about doing Kraven for years.
Yeah, like I just think now that we have the identity of Peter Parker, I think that would be a big thing for him, for Kraven the Hunter to show up for.
I don't know, man. I just don't think there's been enough development of Peter Parker as a character to do that. That's more my problem with it. I don't feel like this Peter Parker has enough stakes for his identity to even matter. Especially considering the fact that Spider-Man was just in the gigantic fight at the end of Endgame, and he's famously part of the group that was helping Tony Stark in New York when they were fighting aliens, like in the beginning of Endgame, or in the beginning of Infinity War, I should say. Like Spider-Man's presence is very known in this universe, and I like they've never had repercussions for his identity being visible.
Well, that's the problem with the MCU, is the fact that there is no secret identities in the movies except for Spider-Man. And I guess the reason is because he's
Spider-Man
a kid.
doesn't really have secret identities, because at the end of here's my problem with it, right? Peter Parker's secret identity is constantly treated as a joke. It's treated as a one-liner. The fact that he has a secret identity, like all the stuff that they play up in Civil War about, like, how old is this kid? Where did you find this kid? Like, that's all just a big joke. And then there's the end tease at Homecoming where Aunt May sees him in the suit and says the F-bomb, but it gets cut off as a joke. And then that never gets brought up in the next film about what her feelings are to him being Spider-Man.
No, it's clear. It's clear about her feelings now in Far From Home that she's super positive about it.
Well, yeah, but you don't ever get like a scene between them exploring that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like it's just kind of like, you're Spider-Man, this is cool. And it's like, well, there's nothing introspective about that for the characters. Like, I don't know. Peter Parker's biggest dilemma is the fact that he wants to go on vacation. That's why this movie is just it just doesn't work.
It's like a mixed bag with what they pick for Far From Home, because some of it does feel like this is Homecoming stuff, and some of it feels like they're just trying to do something, but it's not really being fully fleshed out. I think with the whole Aunt May thing, finding out Peter Spider-Man, that shouldn't be an end teaser, right? Like if they wanted to keep it in Homecoming, it should have been in the second act, right?
Yeah,
I think that's what should have happened, and then maybe Peter goes back to the apartment instead of the lockers at his high school to grab his suit, and then have a moment with Aunt May right there. That would have been better, and then that would have complemented the relationship more in Far From Home.
Yep.
But just again, it's MCU, so of course we have to have certain scenes like that. So that's why we get that end piece in Homecoming.
I guess for me with Spider-Man in the MCU, it just never feels like he has to deal with any consequences whatsoever. For anything he does, really, because it's like, and that's the thing, right? Is that they set up for this Mysterio reveal to be a big deal, but we're not going to know if it's a big deal until the next movie. Still, like, Far From Home as a film can't stand on its own. And that's my biggest problem with Far From Home, is that it's the same boat as Homecoming, where it's just so reliant on the MCU as a whole to make it work as a movie. Whereas I think Homecoming's ending works a lot better. Just overall, because it's like got an actual like beginning, middle, and end, and there's like everything with the Vulture and with Liz like leaving town and all that kind of stuff, and it's there's definite like finale to that movie. But with this one, it's like they defeat Mysterio, but then Mysterio comes back with this message at the end of the film, and then it's that feels like it should be the start of like another act of the movie. And then the movie just ends. It's like, oh, okay.
So I forget, is that the ending of the movie, or is that one of the credit scenes?
No, that's the ending of the film. Is once he's back in New York and he swings with Michelle through the streets, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And then I think it transitions into that scene of like they drop down onto the street, and then like a news report starts behind Peter's head. I mean,
okay. Well, it was a
theaters, so I don't remember.
Yeah, I just looked it up. The reveal was a mid-credit scene.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a mid-credit scene, like I don't know though. It's not like the mid-credit scene of Homecoming, though, where it's like that mid-credit scene was in a separate location with different characters, and it was all about Vulture. Like, Peter Parker wasn't still in the action of that. Like, this one is very much like, this is the ending of the movie. And like...
Yeah, so the identity reveal is a mid-credit scene. Yeah.
It's a post-credit scene?
Yeah, it's like shortly after like the main credits roll, and then it plays.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then we get the other scene for the post-credit scene. Yeah. So I'll give it that, right? Because then the ending of the film is him defeating Mysterio, and then I think him talking to Fury. I forget how the movie really ends.
No, it's him swinging through the streets of New York, like back in New York City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's where some of the swinging footage in the trailer comes from. But they switched out the suit for the trailer shots. Okay. Because, they can just switch out whatever suit they need to on any scene in the entire film.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Jake Gyllenhaal, though, again, I think he was the best part of the movie. His stuff was great. I especially enjoying the reveal of who Mysterio really is at the bar. I thought was good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He was playing that off really well.
Get me out of this stupid costume.
Yeah.
That was wonderful.
It's fun stuff.
And then I love that the whole reason he's the bad guy is because Tony Stark called his technology barf. That's
yeah, it's such a comic booky kind of motive, right?
Oh yeah, very, very very silly motive to hate somebody.
Because like all the other guys had like better motives to do this.
Yeah, even the other scientist guy who was working with Jake Gyllenhaal that worked on the original arc reactor stuff.
Yeah, he got yelled at by Obadiah.
To be a bad guy.
Yeah.
That was such a good callback. I was like, that's beautiful. I'm glad they were able to still find that guy somewhere.
Yeah.
That's great.
He was the only significant one, right? Because I think they showed off one or two more characters that worked on it, but I don't remember where they were from.
Yeah, but I didn't recognize them at all. Like, I think he was the only recognizable cameo.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, and there are scenes in this movie that are still, like, really fun. Like, I love the scene of Peter, like, stopping the drone that he accidentally summons, like from attacking the bus. like killing the Asian guy.
all that
part.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I liked that Flash Thompson was like completely absorbed in like making YouTube videos, which, you know, I feel like it's something that should be that should be one of Peter's things, because he's supposed to be like the photographer guy. So I was kind of hoping we'd see more of like his videography skills.
Yeah. But I mean, they're not really pushing towards that, right? Because he didn't do any photography stuff in Homecoming, right?
No. Yeah. Well, he did the video at the beginning of the movie.
Like the vlogging stuff? Yeah.
Which I think was like, I took that as like, that's the natural evolution of like Peter Parker going from like photographer for a newspaper to becoming like a video logger on YouTube. You know what I mean? But then they don't do anything with that. Like,
yeah, you know what? He should have been doing that stuff with MJ.
Yeah.
That would have been the good great stuff to fit it in. Yeah.
Yep. Like, it would have been cool if the end credits of the movie had like a cut together video. It's like Our Trip to Europe by Peter Parker. Yeah, and like just like a bunch of selfie videos with like all of the different like other teenagers and stuff, you know?
Yeah, that would have been cool. Like, have it run during the credits, I think.
Yeah. Like, you have it as like as an end credits, like, oh, you stayed long enough so you get to see this little like extra thing we shot.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Fun. Yeah, you know, like, but instead they just kind of make him tiny Tony Stark. Happy's good in this movie.
Man, Happy is yeah, it's something.
Yeah. I don't necessarily like the Happy and Aunt May stuff, but I like Happy overall in the film.
Yeah, the Aunt May stuff is just weird.
When Happy picks him up with the airplane, that's where Happy, you know, that's the best part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh no, it really is. I honestly I like that stuff too. Like leading up to that, Peter getting hit by the train and all that.
Really that whole fight is amazing.
Oh man, it's crazy.
Even if it's all just CGI, it's still really cool.
And and not just like it's all like projections. Like all that sequence was entirely CGI. Like they didn't film.
Yeah, there was no real person. There was no real person involved in that entire sequence.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know it's not part of the movie, but shout outs to Sony for doing the promo for Night Monkey.
Yeah.
That was pretty great. Fun. Yeah. Yeah, that was good stuff.
I liked the Night Monkey suit. That was a pretty good design.
Yeah, I really like it. I really like it in the PS4 game too.
Oh yeah, it looks great in the PS4 game.
Mm-hmm.
But they never gave me my ASM suits. Darn it.
Hey, they got
Andrew Garfield, baby.
They need more. They need to save some suits for the sequel. So.
That's true for the second game. Yeah. You're right.
My only disappointment with Peter making the final suit is we didn't get anything creative out of it. Because, you know, like with Peter Parker in the comics, traditionally, like, oh, you know, I need to make these type of webs to fight Electro, you know, or these type of excuse me.
Yeah.
Like in Amazing Spider-Man 2, you know, how whole scene of him talking to Gwen about his webs and fighting Electro.
Yep. Well, see, you can't have a scene like that in this movie because then he wouldn't be able to use his spider sense to fight Mysterio.
Yeah. I mean,
built something to fight him.
If it wasn't going to be his spider sense, I figured he would like make the lens on his suit try to identify the the tech. Yeah.
But you know, the MCU version of Peter Parker is like inconsistently like really smart and not really smart. So
I think the reason why they went with the spider sense is with the complaints about it. I know I've never heard anything big about it. The fact that it wasn't there.
I just knew that it wasn't there, even though they kind of show it in Civil War. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, if you watch Civil War and you watch, I think in Homecoming, you could probably pick out certain spots in action scenes and be like, oh, that's probably where he had the spider sense.
Well, yeah, see, that's what I kind of liked about the way they were showing it in Civil War, is it's more of a subtle thing.
Yeah.
That it's just more something that he uses on the fly, which makes more sense than showing it as like some big moment.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't mind stuff.
when they show it. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind when they show it like that, but like
Hmm.
showing it in a more natural way, especially with how Peter Parker's been Spider-Man for like a minute,
Yeah, yeah.
makes way more sense to me. And that's how they showed it in Civil War, right? Is that they just showed like when Winter Soldier's throwing the truck at him or whatever,
Hmm.
Peter Parker's eyes get like really big. Like
Yes.
Spider-Man's eyes go like, whoa, wait, and then he turns around and there's the truck and he stops it. And it's like, oh, see, that's exactly how you should show spider sense in a movie.
Yeah.
It should be split second. Like it shouldn't, you know.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean,
But instead they're like, no, we got to make a big deal about it. Look at all the goosebumps he gets on his arm when he feels the spaceship outside. Ooh.
I mean, that's as far as I would have taken it. Just like, okay, we have to at least show it once so people could just, stop talking about it, I guess.
So people know he has it. Yeah. It's like, they didn't have to make such a big deal about him having the Peter tingle.
Yeah. I gotta say, there's some of the action stuff in the third act I felt was great. I liked it when he grabbed the, I guess that sign and that camera, right, and using it as a javelin and a shield was a nice touch.
Yeah. Like he had like the hammer and shield combo from like Captain America and Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty
cool.
good.
Yeah.
I liked all the web slinging in that final fight's pretty solid.
Oh yeah.
Lots of the writers and directors and visual people of this movie say they never played the PS4 game, but I'm gonna call BS on that every time because there are shots in this movie that are straight up lifted out of the PS4 video game, like 100%.
Oh yeah.
And it's not a bad thing because that stuff is what makes it good, So keep doing more stuff like that, but you're allowed to admit that if you pulled it from that or not. Like, it's cool. No one's gonna judge you.
Yeah. I think other than that, some of the high school stuff I wasn't feeling all too. I guess the Ned bit with I forget her name. There were moments right there that were fun.
It's the lady who was played by Elizabeth Banks in the original movie. Who works at the Daily Bugle.
Far from. I forget her name.
She's got black hair. I keep wanting to say Betty Ross, but that's the Hulk's girlfriend.
Yeah, that's the Hulk.
That's the wrong character. But yeah, her. Yeah, that whole bit, that whole thing was not too bad. It was very like High School Musical-esque.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, the high school stuff. I was like, it was all right. I wasn't I think the homecoming stuff was better for the high school bits.
Yeah, I would agree. But I think there's just this movie also has the same issue. I think it does a little better with it, but I think it's the same issue I had with Homecoming, where I just think the movie is just overall too funny.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, there's not enough time for like Peter Parker as a character to like breathe, and they do give him a couple moments in this movie, like namely the one with Happy, like after he's gotten hit by the train and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's like that's like the defining moment of this Peter Parker as a character, because he's never really had a scene like that in any of the other movies been in. So
yeah, and it's sad to say this might be the future of the MCU when it comes to solo movies with characters. I could see that happening where they don't have enough room to actually grow.
Yeah, I mean, like think about how Black Widow's looking, right? Like, does it look like that movie's going to have a lot of time for Black Widow to just sit down with other characters and like have a full conversation?
Probably not till the end of the second act,
Yeah, or is it going to be filled with situational humor and jokes? Like,
well, they have
one guy's old and he's fat now, or like her and her sister have a fight instead of actually sharing dialogue. I totally, I 100% think that's where we're headed.
I think, because Black Widow has a lot of groundwork to build up for that movie, which is unfortunate. Yep. So we won't get anything real for a good while, at least.
Yeah, it's going to have to be in a sequel to something else. Like, if anything, I would say that Black Panther 2 and Captain Marvel 2 probably have the best chance of having scenes like this.
Black Panther 2, I could see.
Of just characters getting to sit and talk. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it really depends on Captain Marvel too, what they're gonna do with that.
Yeah.
I don't have high hopes for them actually doing that because we didn't get that in
Yeah,
the first movie.
yeah.
So
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because it's like, you know, Homecoming didn't have like any scene like that was introspective for Peter, but then this one had like one scene. So we might get that with Captain Marvel, where she gets like one scene in comparison to the first movie.
we can only hope, man. Yeah.
Yep. But I don't know. Far From Home. I'd probably watch it a second time. I'd probably see it again.
Yeah, you know, I have it here on my shelf, and I have yet to watch the short film that they added in the re-release.
Oh, right, the extra, like the scene with the cops and stuff. That was like a good scene in the trailer that they just completely eliminated from the movie. I was like, why? That looked like a fun shot.
That didn't really make any sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, bring it over sometime. I'd be down to check it out again. That would be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, we're gonna have to sit down and go through some of these.
I mean, hey, you know, for Far From Home maybe being the final movie of the MCU that I end up watching, I gotta say that I don't think it was bad. It was definitely a good palate cleanser post Endgame. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's definitely not my favorite. I think it's better than Homecoming, though. I'll still hold that true. That I'll hold that opinion to my heart.
Homecoming's one I would need to rewatch for that. Because it's been too long for that one. I
don't ever need to see that movie again because I saw it like 8 times when it was out in theaters because people kept taking me to it. They were like, "You like Spider-Man?"
Yeah, that's
and
a lot.
I was like, "No, I'm like, I know, I like Spider-Man, I do." And they're like, "So you like Homecoming, right?" And I'm like, "Well, no, not really. I like all the Vulture parts."
Yes, yeah.
And if Vulture's coming back in future stuff, then awesome. That's all that I care about.
Let's hope he really is in Morbius, man. That's what I'm holding out on.
My conspiracy theory is that he's not actually Homecoming Vulture. He's Spider-Man 4 Vulture.
Man, that's
my conspiracy theory. That Morbius has Tobey Maguire stuff all over the place. Spider-Man 4 was originally supposed to have the Vulture in it. You know, now's the time.
That would be a very bold move on Sony's end. To do that.
We could have Raimi back in the director's seat for Doctor Strange. All I'm saying, Sony announced an Untitled movie for 2021.
Oh, that's right.
For their Marvel stuff. All I'm saying is that signs are pointing in certain directions.
You know, that reminds me, what happened with the Black Cat movie?
That's what a lot of other people are saying that unknown date might be for, is for the Black Cat movie. Which, you know, that would make, honestly, a lot more sense than a Spider-Man 4 just coming out of nowhere. But hey, who knows?
Oh, they have a director for that movie already. That's right. For
Black Cat?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a feeling that it'll probably end up being Black Cat for 2021. I
think I was talking to Shelby about it on an episode. We're talking about one of the Far From Home trailers. It would have been cool if they introduced Black Cat here. You know, since they were abroad, you know, we could have had some scenes with her.
Yeah.
Some just even on the news or something or whatever. You know, that would have been cool.
A new crime burglar is on the loose. Night Monkey. Is he related to Black Cat?
Yeah.
We'll tell you more at 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
like,
bring J. Jonah.
Like a little throwaway line.
Bring J. Jonah back for that.
Yeah, that would have been a better way to do J. Jonah. I mean, I get that they probably wanted to do J. Jonah similar to how they did him in the video game, where he's very much like an Alex Jones type of person. But I don't necessarily think that works for this J. Jonah Jameson. Mm-hmm. Like the actor, I mean, just because he's so good at doing like classic J. Jonah. That's all I got on Far From Home.
Yeah, that's it for Far From Home. We do have our episode on that as well if you want to peep more about all that good stuff. So now we're entering the top 4 films here. And what usually goes on around this area in previous episodes is we all usually have different ideas of which movie goes where. So it'll be interesting to see where we go here.
Yeah, I'm curious what you put as your number 4. I mean, you already know if you looked at our chat, Danny.
Yeah, I think
Because I posted my little list.
yeah, if I remember
But,
correct, I saw yours, yeah.
yeah.
But for my number 4, it is, I'm gonna put Alita Battle Angel right here.
Ooh. See, I'm going to have to disagree with you there, buddy, because my number 4 is Avengers Endgame.
Whew, man, that's, yeah, very different films here.
Hot take. I know it's a hot take for me to put that at number 4, but I Alita to me was far more satisfying of a movie than Endgame was once I was done watching it. And don't get me wrong, Endgame is super impressive. I think Endgame is a fine movie. I think it was a hell of a thing that they had to do, incorporating all of these characters and all of these storylines into this final film. You know what I mean? Like, it's super impressive, but I just don't think it landed in enough spaces for me to put Endgame up higher on my list. If that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like Alita a lot. It's such a great time. Everything about the movie is great. Even with the changes in them combining arcs from the manga in here just to make it suit better for the film is a smart decision, I think. Except for the motorball stuff, I wish they would have saved some of that for the next film because there's a lot of important stuff in there, and I don't think that would be in the sequel at all. Hopefully
you don't think Jai Courtney would come back? I think Jai Courtney would come back.
I would think,
100%.
Because just the way the movie ends in Alita with her being such a beloved player.
Oh, like where she's already like a champion type thing.
Yeah, there's a whole process of her leading up to there and it's also different in the manga as well that makes it more story driven.
Okay.
So I don't really see them. Unless they make Jai Courtney's character a villain, which his character is not in the manga, I don't see them really fleshing out Motorball anymore, other than just like maybe just the opening sequence for the sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
But other than that, I mean, it's really a great time. I love the cameos in this film that I hope get fleshed out more when we get a sequel.
Oh. Edward Norton, dude.
Yes.
Woof.
Yes, that's exactly who I'm talking about.
He's got to come back, man. I gotta see the sequel just to see what Edward Norton does. Could you imagine Edward Norton, his character, meeting Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik?
That'd be great. Yeah. Norton as Nova is literally like the perfect cast. Like I couldn't think of anybody else to play that character.
Yeah, that was and it came out of nowhere. I loved that.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the movie, you can hear his voiceover.
Yes.
In all the parts where his voice is layered with other characters. You can hear Edward Norton's voiceover. So Edward Norton did record dialogue for this movie. He wasn't just a guy who stood and took off some glasses.
Yeah. Robert Rodriguez did a great job adapting the script that Spielberg made, or James Cameron made. Initially.
And how long ago was that? Oh my god,
that was like the 90s.
Yeah, so this is like a movie that's been waiting to come out for almost 20 years?
Yeah. Yeah, if you grab the Blu-ray for the movie and you get into like the special, like the behind the scenes stuff, and they talk about that.
That's cool.
Yeah, like James Cameron just told Rodriguez like, okay, well here's my script. If you can condense this down to, I forget how many pages it was. I think it was like half the size of the script, and it turns out great. Then I will pass the mantle onto you, and he got the job done. So that's why we got Rodriguez on the film. So yeah, that was cool.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, he was a good choice for it. He knew how to do the action scenes really well.
And I don't remember if I said it here or on the other podcast, but for James Cameron, when in talks to make Avatar. It was a decision of, should I make Avatar or should I make Alita first? And he went with Avatar. And I
was going to say, I remember you talking about this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think thinking about it now, it was a great time for Alita to come out last year. Because mainly the cast. What's her name? Rosa
Salazar?
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds like her name.
Excuse me. Yeah, Rosa Salazar was perfect as Alita.
Yep.
I couldn't really see anybody else playing her.
Love the guy they picked for Hugo too. He was great.
Yeah, he was surprisingly great in the film as well.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be the generic white kid actor number 72.
Yeah,
but
somebody from the Maze Runner. Yeah.
Yeah. But he brought some good personality to that role, man. Even if they didn't, let the manga origin stay with them, which I would kind of wish they had gone into a little bit.
Yeah. Definitely his backstory, because.
Yeah, that would have been nice to have a little bit more fleshed out. But that movie was already like 2.5 hours. So totally understand why they didn't do that.
Yeah, and that's just the thing with this movie is, as great as it doesn't go as deep as Alita usually does. They get some of the high notes on point, but there's definitely those minor stuff, like we're saying right now, that I really wish they would have went a little deeper.
I guess for me, this feels very much like, it reminds me a lot of like the original Harry Potter movie, like Sorcerer's Stone, or like the first Aragon, or any other like book adaptation movie. This feels a lot like the first one of those, where it's like we're gonna pack in maybe the first 2 or 3 books of information in there a little bit, and we're gonna pack it a little tight, but it's still pretty good. Overall, I loved it. Like, I don't know, it gave me that very early 2000s vibe.
Nice, yeah, no, definitely does, yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed like the action sequences again. Like we said in the review, crazy to see. The fact that it got as gory as it did for a PG-13 movie was impressive.
Yeah, that was great. Except for the dog, that part sucked.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. Dogs. Yeah,
any movie that kills a dog, I'm always like, no, that's wrong. But the fact that she used its blood for her war paint was beautiful. I was like, yes. That's the scene. That's where she becomes the battle angel. I was like, that was the one right there. Do you want to talk about Endgame more here, or should we wait until it comes up on your list?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to start talking about it, yeah, I could always come back around.
Oh, is that, would that be your number 3? Because Alita is my number 3.
It's coming up for me, for sure.
Okay. But Endgame, I think the main things that just keep me from putting it higher on the list are just that 5-year time jump, man. That thing just kills the movie for me on a lot of levels, because it's almost like it's like we're looking at completely different characters, like than the ones we start off with in the first 20 minutes, which makes sense because 5 years have passed.
Yeah, but
it's like it almost feels like that first 10 minutes of this movie just should have been at the end of Infinity War. And then we should have just like come to this movie at the after the 5-year time jump, because it I don't know, it makes the beginning of this movie feel very unnecessary in a way, especially with like the really dramatic like Tony Stark scene and stuff. Like, that stuff is all great, and then it just kind of is like, oh, 5 years later he's back to being pretty much normal. And he's got a kid. I'm like, oh, okay. It would have been nice to have seen anything with that. Who else showed up when the kid was born? Does anybody else know the kid? Does he talk to any of the other Avengers anymore at all? Like, we don't know. And we don't get to know. And it's the same thing with a lot of the characters in the movie. And that's, it's part of the problem of having a movie with like 40 different characters in it that have all been built up to this point. I think like High Top Films, shout out to his YouTube channel, did a pretty good breakdown of a lot of the same issues that I had with it at the end of it. And that's not to say that I don't think the movie's still like decent, like, cause it is. It's very well put together for what they had to do. I just really wish that like Thor had a different story and Captain America had more screen time with some of the other characters, and Black Widow had like any kind of reason to throw herself off the cliff. Because if anything, Hawkeye should have been the person to sacrifice himself in that moment, because of how much he had messed up. But lots of little stuff like that. But the time travel bits are all great. I love them going back in the past and seeing like alternate versions of themselves and stuff. All that's really fun. but it's just it all feels very hollow, especially like going forward with the MCU and like all the things that have been announced is like planned things and rumored stuff, and it just makes Endgame kind of feel like it didn't matter as much as it should have.
Well, that's always the problem with these types of storylines, right?
Yep.
Like I know we haven't really talked about it, but Crisis on Infinite Earths, right? How does that end? It just kind of like, well, we hit the reset button, you know. So it's like, well, so does anything that happened matter, you know? And there's small waves of the events that happened, right? Like with Oliver's death, for example, the end of Arrow.
Yeah.
You know, the push forward for John Diggle to be Green Lantern in that universe. Stuff on Flash, you know, it's kind of like, it's slow. It's not a whole lot, but it's kind of there. But yeah, it is hard to say like, well, like, yeah, this is over, right? And it's like, actually, no, this was just the first big arc of our story. We have much bigger stuff to do. It's like bigger than this, you know? So I definitely understand it right there.
Yeah.
And especially because a lot of the characters here that we care about, they're checked out after this point. Yeah. Right? Yep. And so it's just like, well, why would I stick around?
Like, think about it. Do we ever get that really, like, do we ever get the scene that, you know, we all kind of really wanted between Tony and Cap, where they actually get to talk their stuff out? Or do we just get a scene where Tony asks Cap, do you trust me? And then Cap just says, I do. And then that's it. That's the end of it. Like, they never get to talk about it at all.
Yeah. I mean, well, we did get the scene in the beginning talking about Peter, the whole arguments in the beginning.
Well, yeah, but that's more just they're angry at each other. There's no resolution to it, really. Like, Tony just hands Cap the shield later, and then that's it. Like, oh, that's how we're gonna handle our argument? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different from the previous Avenger films and Civil War, right? They never really had as much screen time in Endgame as those films.
Yep.
Which is, it's sad to see, you know, and that happened in Crisis. You know, the fact that Barry and Oliver had no real moments with each other, except for a few lines, is really disappointing. But when you're working with an ensemble like that, yeah, I can understand the problems.
Hard to fit it in. Yeah,
I mean, it's like what the Russo said about filming both of these movies. It was really difficult, and they would rather not do it again. You know? Because I think part of that feels like they wanted to do stuff, but they had to hold off because of the fact that this is a big Avengers film. So that's definitely some of the stuff that these big movies will always have problems with, sadly.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I feel like the storytelling could have been a little more focused in some other ways, but you know, that's just how it goes. I also think that like the movie kind of not taking certain characters seriously that it took seriously in the movie literally before it. Yeah. It's kind of dumb.
Yeah, like, that's a big one.
Thor's transition between Infinity War and this movie just makes absolutely no sense.
It's really wild, and we'll never find out until probably Hemsworth is done, and hopefully he pulls a Boyega on Twitter. You know
who? Chris
Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Oh, but he loves that. He's the one who fought for Thor to be fat.
I know. That's,
you know what I mean.
But that's like, what he keeps saying. Him
as an actor, like I don't think, because like he got to do Ghostbusters and he got to be funny. Right, so
and he was funny in that movie. I want to play.
He's like, I want to play Thor funny now, or else I'm not playing him anymore. Like, it is probably the argument he made with some studio head, and they said, "Okay, you can play him funny, then we don't care."
Well, I remember he was doing an interview about Ragnarok, and he was explaining how he wasn't really pumped to play Thor anymore at that point, and one of the reasons is he never really spoke out about certain decisions that he wanted to do with the character. He kind of just went along with the directors. Yeah. And that's just probably him as an actor, as a person, you know. He really didn't want to get too much into it. But then
he doesn't fight for it as much as
yeah, but then when he finally decided to do it with Waititi, Waititi was all for it, you know, and then you know, they kind of just click with each other, so that made sense. And then he got more confident with that, and that's where he went into I guess it had to be Endgame, not Infinity War, which because
Infinity War he's still very reserved, and he's very much like Thor from Age of Ultron.
Yeah, but he still has some Ragnarok scenes in there for sure.
Yeah, he's still got some goofy moments.
He gets the humor in there. Yeah,
I guess for me, the way that Thor's humor works in Infinity War. It's like how it works like earlier in the series, where it's more based off of not that he's just trying to say one-liners and be funny. It's more that it's situational humor based on the fact that he is Thor. You know what I mean? Like, that's why scenes of him getting like tasered are funny, because it's like, it's not him trying to be funny. It's a situation that Thor as a character has been put inside of. Yeah. Or like even the throwing the cup on the ground and saying, I like this drink, another. Like, the reason that's funny is because, he's funny because that's like part of his character trait. It's not just him going, because that's what heroes do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a time to have those scenes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another big thing about that is the fact that they were filming Infinity War before Ragnarok came out, so they didn't really know the feedback for Ragnarok at that point. You know, they didn't know how big of a hit it was going to be, explaining why Valkyrie is just nowhere in sight in that movie, and why the Russos would probably be more lenient to having a funnier Thor because of how good it was in Ragnarok.
Yeah. Which is a shame, because
because the way we ended with Thor. Yeah.
God, Thor in Infinity War is just so perfect. And then Fat Thor is like just a completely different character. Like,
yeah, it's so wild. It's just, it's one of the craziest things that's happened in these films.
Yep.
Yeah. Man.
And no offense to all those people out there that got a lot of really good, like, self-esteem boosts from seeing Thor be fat. But
I mean, it's like what we said with Captain Marvel in our review. You know, if that inspires you, if you really enjoyed it, then good on you. You know, that's for you. It's just not for us, unfortunately.
Just because it doesn't feel like it fits with the writing of the character. But you know, and that's why I had to place, like, it's just all those little small things that kind of outweigh all the big good stuff in that movie. Because it's like Tony Stark does have some of the best stuff of almost the entire MCU Tony Stark scenes in this movie. Like, I love the scene between him and his dad. I love the scene between like him and his daughter, him and Pepper Potts. All the stuff with Tony Stark in this movie is beautiful and wonderful, but it just feels so kind of wasted in some ways. And then don't even get me started on Thanos and how dumb he was in this movie. Oh man.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that, like,
it's like we have to have a big alien fight at the end because we got to have every character.
Not even that. We just need a big fight at the end, right? Pulling back to the, I'll pull up his YouTube channel right now, but the Marvel Negative Positive guy, right? When he talked about Ant-Man in the negative part, it's like, as great of a film it was, why did we need a fight with the person with the same abilities? It could have just been a heist movie at the end.
Yeah.
You know? And the YouTube channel is Jesse Tribble. If you guys want to go peep those two videos, they're pretty good.
Yeah, they're good videos. Yeah. He did a good job breaking down a lot of the good and a lot of the bad.
Yeah, but just the fact...
it's pretty telling that his negative video is an hour compared to his positive.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same on this podcast, right?
Yeah.
It's just, we could just get deeper into the negative stuff. But yeah, the fact that we really need a villain at the end is something that's always up in the air, you know? I think Tony's final moments was fantastic, and we wouldn't have gotten that without them having a big CG fight.
Yes, I agree.
But it also being a big CG fight is the problem as well.
But I think they could have done... I think it's more just the fact that Thanos as a character gets completely reset up to that point. Like, this isn't the Thanos that cares about fighting these people. You know what I mean? Like, this is the Thanos that just wants the stones. And he doesn't even know what they do yet. Like, this Thanos.
Oh, no, I think he understands what they do at this point. Because he's hunting them, right? So he must know at least some knowledge of what they are.
Yeah. But it's a Thanos that hasn't, like, experienced any of them, I guess, in person.
That's true, yeah.
Which is why I think Infinity War Thanos is so much more interesting, because as he's able to collect each stone, he becomes more and more reverent to them, in a way. Like, more respectful, you know, like, over the course of the movie.
Yes.
Because he's like, look, these are things that are way more powerful than anything else in the galaxy. and they deserve respect. And so in turn, he respects the stones in that way. Like they're very mystical in that idea, you know? And in this movie, it's just kind of like, I just need to get them on my glove.
Mm-hmm. In Infinity War, he understands the true weight of holding that kind of power. And the Endgame one only understands the idea of that power. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like he doesn't care. This Thanos doesn't give a darn.
But like I said, like who else would you pull in for a big villain at the end of Endgame, you know?
Well, I guess my thing would be just don't kill off Thanos at the beginning of the movie. Like,
I think it would be cool to see him try to stop them from fixing stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess it would just be him. I don't know how they would pull it off. Unless, like, he's in tuned with the stones after using them, so he would know when they would activate again or something. Or maybe he would see on the planet he was at, like, there's double the life than before, and he's like, oh, they used the stones, and then he would go down there and fight them.
Well, because, see, like, what I thought was going to happen was just that they would have killed him at the beginning, and then 5 years would have gone by, but it would have turned out that all that stuff was just reality stone baloney that Thanos had conjured up.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Which would, kill the time travel plot pretty immensely, because that means they wouldn't have to go back. Well, maybe not. They could still send a ragtag group back to get stones.
The only reason they went back was to get the stones, and if Thanos didn't destroy them, then yeah.
Well, if Thanos still has them, though, like they're like, well, we can't get them out of his possession, but we can go get our own. You know what I mean?
I think them scattering like the Dragon Balls is a fine idea that I mentioned before. Like if they did that in the movie, and then like, oh, we're gonna have to explore the galaxy for the stones, would have been something. Yeah,
I think there's a couple different avenues they could have gone down. To keep at least keep the Thanos that they had spent so much time building up in one movie alive. Because it's like he was my favorite character of Infinity War. And then Endgame just kind of goes, nah, he's dead.
Yeah, but and
you don't get to have that one back ever. You get it back from Guardians Volume 1. And I'm like, great. That's the Thanos I wanted in this movie.
But to be fair, Infinity War Thanos, like that was the end of his journey. His character arc is over at that point. And even when he dies in Endgame, like he's pretty much done. Like he's fulfilled his what he was supposed to do, so there was really nothing else for him. I mean, aside from him coming back to stop the Avengers from fixing everything, but then he wouldn't have an army, and he would have to fight literally everybody by himself.
But again, that's why I'm saying, what if he still had the stones, and it was all reality stone trickery? You know what I mean?
I think there's a lot other ways to really weigh in on how you would structure the final act of that film.
And Endgame did have to deal with the same problems that, that Captain Marvel and Homecoming had to deal with, where that movie was made in less than a year in comparison to Infinity War. Because Infinity War had and I know that they were shot at the same time.
Yes,
for the most part, but Endgame feels much looser in terms of its script and in terms of its storytelling.
I think
than Infinity War does.
The biggest
Infinity
part
War is much more straightforward.
The biggest part of that is the time travel stuff. Easily, I think. As much as I like it, it really takes a lot out of what you can do in the film. Like you were saying earlier, you wish for more character interactions to get deeper in the film. The time travel stuff kind of takes it away, because we have 3 or 4 points of plot to get through in the whole second act before we get to the big finale at the end, and that really takes away from stuff.
Yeah.
So,
and then it's I don't know. We were talking in the car the other day about it, but I was saying that I wish and preferred that Rocket was not the one to survive, and Star-Lord actually survived the snap. Yeah, I think that would have added so much more to this movie. And it would have been cheaper to have Chris Pratt on screen instead of a CGI raccoon.
Yeah, instead of Sean Gunn just walking around in a suit.
Yeah, exactly. Less CGI budget, unless Chris Pratt got fat again and they had to shave off the pounds. But But can you imagine like the scene of Thor playing Fortnite, but instead of like Korg and Meek, it's Star-Lord is hanging out with him, and they're both fat. Like Star-Lord and Thor got fat together because their girlfriends and stuff all died. Like so many more like goofy moments would have. I honestly would have probably like given the movie more credit if they had kept like Star-Lord around.
I think because it would have more play with Thor, right? From at least one other character, because just him fat by himself and everybody else is, like that scene of him explaining the Aether, everyone's just like,
yeah,
what's happening? But if Peter Quill was there,
Peter
and
Quill would be like on his level.
And plus, and
I mean?
also Scott
like,
in that scene as well,
Yeah, like they all would have been like crying together. Like, but instead we have to, we got a deleted
himself.
Scene of Tony Stark shaving Rocket's head.
What?
Have you not seen that?
No.
Oh, there's a deleted scene of them talking about the Battle of New York, and Rocket's. It's a scene that I'm happy got deleted because it like completely poops on Avengers 1. But like Rocket goes, how long did it take you to defeat the Chitauri? And they're like, oh, it took us like 17 hours. And he's like, 17 hours? It only takes us like 15 minutes to beat these guys. They're the suckiest army in the galaxy. And they go, well, why? And he goes, you just got to blow up the mothership. Why didn't you try that?
God, that sounds like a Shuri line in Infinity War.
Yeah. And Captain America goes, well, we didn't know about that yet. And then while Rocket's laughing about it, Tony Stark walks up behind Rocket and shaves the top of his head with like a razor.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, and I was like, that feels like an outtake with the shaving the head bit, and then like the rest of it is just kind of pooping on Joss Whedon's movie, so that feels kind of dirty. Like, aren't we so smart that we're pointing out this big inconsistency about the last two movies?
Yeah.
That we weren't involved in at all? Oh well. I mean, it wasn't in the movie, so that's what matters.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Endgame still accomplished what it set out to do, and I can definitely say we may never witness another movie event like that in our entire lifetime.
Oh yeah, no. So I think that'll be it for Endgame for now, right?
Yeah, I think that's number 4. Yeah, I think that's
your number 4. Yeah.
Spot. Yep.
And then you said your number 3 was Alita, and then for my number 3. Maybe a little shock for you, Jake, because I saw your list. But for me, it's Shazam.
Oof. Oh, yeah. Ouch. Ouch, my heart.
You're
killing me, Danny. What is this?
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I mean, it's such a great movie as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I've rewatched this a few times as well, and it's always such a fun, wholesome time. And then, of course, like all the extra footage that we get in the behind-the-scenes stuff is fantastic.
Oh, yeah. The deleted scenes, the amount of them we got was just spectacular. Oh, my gosh.
A lot, yeah. But no, I really like this movie, man. Zachary Levi just killed it. The whole cast really just killed it.
Yeah, there's so much passion behind this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Shazam is just, it's wonderful. It just makes my heart happy every time I watch it.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's it reminds me a lot of Ant-Man and how fun that film was.
Yep.
And like this is just doing the exact same thing. You can clearly tell no one's having a really bad time on set. And just a really solid movie, really great wholesome stuff. The stuff at WonderCon was great as well.
I'll talk more about it once we get later on the list.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, again, glad Black Adam wasn't the first choice here. I'm glad that they're really saving him, especially now. Like the buildup is realer than ever.
We get his next movie before we get the next Shazam movie.
Oh, that's cool. Right. Is that right?
We get Black Adam first before Shazam 2.
Okay.
And I believe Black Adam is next year, right? Or is it 2022?
2022.
I'm trying to remember based off The Rock's post.
Oh, wait, no, it might be next year. I think it's December 21st, 2021. Yeah. No, December 22nd, 2021. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. So it is next year, and then Shazam 2's right after. Okay.
All right. There you go.
Nice. Yeah. I think The Rock made a post the other day about him working out for Black Adam.
Yeah, I remember him posting something about that. I was like, you have to work out more? Like, what? How big do you gotta get? Like,
He's got to be as big as Cavill's Superman suit, but without the
that
muscles.
as big as the suit, but all natural.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. But yeah, really, really fantastic stuff all around in this movie. And the family dynamic, of course, is the key point, and it plays out great. Yeah, I mean that's really all I have to say right now until we get to your side on it, Jake. To get more deeper into it.
Yeah. We'll get full into it once we get a little later here. But for my number 3, Alita, it was really fun, good time, great times. Love the CGI on that movie. It resonated with me like really well, just because everyone was comparing it at the time to Captain Marvel, which is a very apt comparison. I think that's totally legitimate, because they're both big budget action movies that are starring strong female leads. But Alita as a character was much more interesting to me than Captain Marvel was. She falls into a couple of those traps where, she has very fast character development. But I'd rather take very fast character development than no character development. So I'm okay with it.
Right.
Yeah. So I thought Alita was wonderful. I hope there's another one soon. If there's not, this was still a very good single movie by itself. I love the sword combat with a lot of the fight scenes. I love the rollerball scenes are excellent. Christoph Waltz was surprisingly great in this movie as the scientist that puts her back together.
Yeah, as Ito. He did great.
Yeah, he did such a great job as Ito. Like after watching the OVA and then coming back to the movie to watch it again, like he's perfect. Like I was like, yeah, Christoph Waltz was the best choice for this part. That's great. I liked Jennifer Connelly in the movie as Ito's wife was pretty good. Little sad that Ito's wife just kind of gets off pretty quick near the end. I was like,
yeah.
Dang.
I mean, as far as that aspect goes, like sequel wise, if they would have kept her alive, I don't know what they would have done because she's not a real character in the main series. She's really OVA, only in the OVA. Yeah,
she's in the OVA a little bit, but other than that, like it's not super huge.
Yeah,
which it's fine. It was a good shocking moment in the movie.
Yeah, I mean it had to set the bar for Nova, I think.
Yeah, to see to know what his whole shtick was.
Yeah.
I loved the spaceship scene where she finds the old the body from the other from her past or whatever.
Yeah, that was great. And they also filmed that underwater too. They got I think they got reference shots when they had one of the stunt people walk underwater. They really? Yeah, got weighted ankles and all that, and walked under there.
That's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Man, James Cameron coming out with all these practical effects, dude. Woof. Or Robert Rodriguez, I should say. But yeah, no, I love Alita. It's wonderful. It's great. It's so charming. All the characters are so likable throughout the film. Even what's his face? Francis from Deadpool is great.
Yeah, Ed Sheeran as I can't forget his name. I think it's with a Z. Yeah, how am I forgetting his name? He's a big character later down the line.
Yeah, he's huge.
I'm pulling it up right now. Zapan. Yeah.
Zapan. Yeah, Zapan. He was great. And I loved when his face got cut off. That was hilarious. That was good stuff, man.
Yeah, and that'll play a bigger role.
All those characters at the bar were so memorable. It was one of those classic movies that's just got tons of memorable side characters. I'll never forget the guy with his robot dogs. I don't even know his name, but he was beautiful. And the fact that he's like, you hurt a dog, that you're done. He gets super mad about the big guy killing the puppy, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I would have done.
Yeah.
And then gotta give shout outs to good old Freddy Krueger. Jackie or Rorschach, I should say, playing the big guy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Gruce. What's his name?
Yeah, something like that. I don't
Yeah.
remember. Yeah.
But he plays that character, and he does a great job.
Mhm.
There's a lot of all the CG in this movie is very believable, which is something that I really like about it. Like it's very it feels like it's very real in this world. I even like the assistant scientist lady that helps out Ito, and like her little crazy robot arm that she's got.
Yeah, yeah.
Like all the extra like fingers and stuff that can like poke out of it, and I'm like, that's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's just a lot to like about the movie. It's just very charming. It's very wholesome. It's good stuff. And that's my number 3.
Oh yeah, yeah. Really hoping for a sequel, like we said. We have to remember now it's up to Disney.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, you know what? Fans got enough money together to fly an airplane above the Oscars.
Yes,
with
that's
a banner
right.
that said "Save Alita," and I'm like, that would be awesome if any of the people were outside. I think they were probably all inside the building at that point, but that's cool.
Yeah, the Alita sequel hashtag, whatever it was. Yeah, that was cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad it has that passion, just like the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, it's I always figured Alita was gonna probably get that cult following.
It totally did. If you hopped on Twitter, during the release, when it was out in theaters, yeah, you could see like the following was pretty great.
Yeah, shout out to one of my favorite Alita cosplayers out there, Chibi Gaines. She has been on the movement since the movie came out to get everyone and their mom to buy the DVDs. Even going to the point where she gives them away to people like at meetups and stuff.
Nice,
so she's 100% in on everything Alita. And she's fighting for it. In my opinion, she is the real life one at this point.
Right.
And hey, don't forget, man, Alita also inspired multiple companies to make prosthetic limbs and stuff based on the film.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yep. So lots of wholesome stuff coming out of Captain Marvel. What am I saying?
The real Captain Marvel. Yeah.
Yeah, the actual Captain Marvel. Still love. I still love our little chapter image for that.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. The thumbnail was perfect.
Yeah, man. So again, that's Alita, Battle Angel.
Yeah,
fantastic stuff. Now,
so I'm curious, man. What's your number 2 here, dude?
We're moving on to number 2.
Yeah.
At this point, once we say it, you already know what the number 1 is going to be. But for me, number 2 is Joker.
Ooh, all right, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it when we get there.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll get there.
Excuse me, but yeah, number 2, yeah, Joker for me.
Same for me. Same as well for me. Joker was also my number 2 for the year.
Yeah, talk about a strong film, right?
Yeah.
Just
very much so.
A lot of stuff about this film: cinematography, acting.
I would argue it's an almost perfect movie. Almost.
There's
a key scene at the end that I still don't think fits, just because of the way it just feels so tacked on.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? Can you figure it out?
Yeah, I got a pretty good idea.
You know, parents and pearls and a gunshot and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's just they had to do it, I guess. I think.
I
think that's just what it came down to.
I don't know. It just feels like such an afterthought. I think if it had had maybe just like a little bit more emphasis on it, maybe in how they shot it or something.
I think it was worrisome on their part though, because the Waynes being murdered is just as iconic as the Ben Parker dying, right? Origin.
Yeah.
People are tired of it, and and plus the last time we saw it was in BVS, and that was a huge cinematic opening for that film.
Yeah, and it was awesome. So, that Bruce. The Wayne parent death in that movie was great.
Yeah, but again, I think that's why they wouldn't want to do it here. Is because we got that already, not even that long ago.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. I guess my thing is if you're gonna do it really strong, or don't do it at all. And I think in this movie's case, it would have been better to just not do it. And maybe in the aftermath, still have the scene where he's like, what are you, like, she's like, what are you laughing at? And he's like, oh, it's a joke, but you wouldn't get it. And it still does the flash to like Bruce Wayne standing over his dead parents in the alleyway, but maybe don't show the whole scene.
I think have
something a little more subtle. But this movie wasn't really big about subtlety. So
no, it was not. Yeah.
No, this movie was anything but subtle.
I think for the Wayne scene, you could have just had it like a quick quick recap, like on the news of what happened that night, of all the chaos in the city, and then that would be like one of the either the opening thing or like the final thing they talk about on the news, and then you just still have the same stuff with the psychiatrist and Joker.
Yeah, that would have been a good way to do it. But
yeah.
Oh well, it's overall though. It's other than that one scene, I would say that it's freaking like 9 out of 10, man. Like that movie was stunning from beginning to end.
Yeah, really, really solid work. Strong scenes with pretty much the whole cast. Right throughout the film, there was really nothing too disappointing with interactions of characters or anything like that. Yeah,
and I love that the whole movie, like there's like almost not there. I think like there isn't a single scene without Arthur in it, which is great. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. That's a fun way to do it. Like have him
I don't think so. Yeah,
permeate every scene of the film. Was really fun, and I loved the twist of Domino in this movie.
Yes, yes.
But I just hated the way that they finished it off. Like, the twist is great, but it's like, they do the whole thing of like, the audience is kind of dumb, so we gotta make sure they understand type deal.
Oh, you're talking about the recap scenes?
Yeah. I was like, maybe need to do that. You could have maybe not done that.
It's one of those requirements when it comes to this stuff in the film.
Yeah, we gotta make sure the audience understands and all that jazz.
Yeah, they're showing and telling at the same time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But Robert De Niro in this movie was great.
Oh man, he was having such a great time.
That whole final scene is it's absolutely stunning. Every time I watch it, like I can't get over how good that final scene is. When he's finally become Joker. I think my favorite scene though still has to be when he's when he gets visited by the other clown performers at his apartment.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
And then he kills the big guy like really violently. Mm-hmm. Such a great scene. And then like how there's that little bit like comedic moment of like the little guy trying to get out of the room. He has to come open the door.
That to me that was a surprise of how like the humor went in that scene. We didn't get a whole lot of anything like that until that point.
I would say that the other scene that's kind of funny like that is when he drops the gun.
Oh
in the kids ward at the hospital. That's got a little bit of that dark humor to it. But yeah, definitely. I think that by far is my favorite scene in the movie. It's just like it's just Joaquin Phoenix just getting to stretch his legs as the character finally. Even his mom is a good role in the movie. Like she's great. Is like an old crazy lady.
I don't feel like any real role is wasted.
I would say maybe the psychiatrist he talks to at the beginning because she's very like exposition-y.
But I think it plays with the idea of that, like, her job is not important, therefore she's not really important in the movie, kind of thing.
Yeah, that does fit with her deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then hey, I love the way they re-engineered Joker as a character, where it's like his whole laughing bit is just like it's an actual like issue. It's a malady. It's not like something he controls. Like I was like, that's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something he controls until the end of the movie, which is what I love about it. Like once he's finally Joker, he's in full control of his laughter. Like he's no longer like super stressed out or anything about it.
Yeah, once all that anxiety and everything like really weighing him down is gone, then he's finally himself. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, God, that it's just really well done, man. It's just such a great like character, like example of character development in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
They nailed it. Todd Phillips, you son of a gun, you did it. You did a great job. Even if Todd Phillips didn't get the best director, you know,
Oh yeah,
he still did a wonderful job.
Yeah, I really liked everything, and I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't expecting humor in this movie. I just didn't think that was gonna be a thing they were gonna focus on. But when they did show up, it was very well executed and satisfying to see.
You know, I gotta say, I don't think this movie needs a sequel. Like, I totally get it if it does get one because it made like tons of money.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
I just personally don't think it needs one.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't really want to see a sequel for it. I wouldn't mind it, depending on what they go for. But
yeah,
it's very self-contained, and I think it should really stay that way.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
But I loved it, and I have already watched it again multiple times. It's still a wonderful movie to watch, especially if you haven't seen older stuff like Taxi Driver and stuff. This is a good introduction to those style of movies.
Yeah, I haven't really seen those films. Yeah.
Yeah. I like once you do see like King of Comedy and Taxi Driver, you're totally gonna see their fingerprints like all over this movie after that. But it's like this is such a good love letter to that I don't really care that it takes a lot of inspiration from those. I know that was a big complaint for a lot of film buffy people is that it's just a ripoff of those two movies. And I'm like, well, is it a ripoff or is it an homage? Or is it like just adapting aspects of those stories to this? You know?
Yeah, it's just being inspired by those films. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that it's probably closer to King of Comedy than Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
In terms of like the story of the movie. But I still think that this stands on its own. It's a good movie, man. It's solid all the way around. Oh, except for that kind of dumb dancing scene in the bathroom. That part was a little silly.
I thought it fit perfectly at that moment.
I think it worked. Like tonally, I think it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it went on for like way too long.
Oh, the length probably. Yeah, I would agree with you.
Yeah. That was more my issue with it. I was like,
okay.
Him reacting to what he just did in the bathroom totally made sense in that way. That he's like kind of freed out at this point, but like just having him dance for so long, I was like, yeah, okay, I got it. I get it. You can move on. I get it. And then it keeps going, and you're like, oh, okay, cool.
I still need to pick it up on Blu-ray myself, but it's something I'm gonna go back to every now and then for sure.
Yes, a classic, as it were.
Yeah, it really is. You know, but I think with that, it's time to hit the number ones on the list.
It's our number one spot, babies.
So as you guessed it, Avengers Endgame for me is the number one. It's like a lot of stuff that we said. For me, I think I'm on the opposite end of you, Jake, when it comes to the time skip. I generally kind of like that kind of stuff. Like the stuff in between would have been great to see, but yeah. I think that should just be its own separate thing. Not in a movie. I wouldn't say Disney Plus, but like I don't know, as a comic or something.
I almost would have just been cool if it had just been like a montage of stuff. Or if it had just been in some way communicated visually rather than just us being told everything that happened, like verbally.
Well, I think we get an idea. I mean, verbally, yeah, with the whole Hawkeye turning into Ronin.
And then Hulk's backstory and then Thor's backstory.
Yeah, Hulk's story. Yeah, those two.
Like everyone, there's no visual storytelling almost at all.
I mean, with any of them. Cap scene for sure is a visual representation of what he's been doing.
The AA meeting and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the closest that we got to
that. I mean, just seeing. I mean, I know there's a lot of dialogue in the scene, but with Natasha leading the Avengers, they didn't have to really explain anything, but you can clearly tell that she took on the mantle.
That was pretty well done.
Yeah.
But I guess it's more with like uh, Hulk, Thor, and some of the other characters that it's
but see,
like, well, what have they been doing?
With Hulk's, I like the dialogue in that scene. I think having that deleted scene that they never finished editing of him rescuing people, that would have been better, of him doing that and then Steve and them show up to talk to him would have been a better version. But I think him explaining about, like, first I lost his Hulk and then I lost his banner, I think that was a good dialogue for Ruffalo's Hulk.
Yeah, it was good. I guess it's just like, now looking back and seeing that scene that we could have gotten in Infinity War where they worked it out, I'm like, man, it would have been awful nice to see anything like, even remotely like that, show up in Endgame.
Yeah, I was thinking about it the other day.
Instead of just all of a sudden having Hulk just be that, I'm like, it's a little rushed to me, at least. I don't know.
I'm curious to see like how many versions of the script they had laid out, on the desk before they finally picked this one. Because I was thinking about, like, there was so many ways you could have went with this movie, even with the deleted scenes that we talked about on a previous episode, and just other ideas that could have popped up from Infinity War to Endgame. It's a lot to handle. I think is what it comes down to. But I think for me, when the scenes are strong, they're the strongest they've been. Like, I think some of my favorite scenes is still in the beginning with with Tony getting belligerent to the Avengers, Scott coming back, and seeing like the aftermath of Endgame or of Infinity War, and seeing his daughter all grown up is some really strong stuff.
That stuff is great.
Yeah,
but Fortnite is still around.
Yeah, so Fortnite's in there with Fat Thor.
Fortnite and its servers are still online to the point where you can play against people on the internet.
I mean, it's been 5 years.
I don't know, man. Losing half the population of the planet, and then it only takes 5 years for them to recoup. That's I don't know. I guess that's a big issue of mine with the movie, is just that it's like the stakes aren't very well placed out. Because it's like, well, if they have normalized enough stuff like Fortnite and like PlayStation games, then obviously the world isn't as dire straits as all the Avengers are making it out to be. Like, somebody's still brewing alcohol somewhere to like send to Thor. So I don't know. A lot of stuff felt like we're trying to make it look post-apocalyptic, but not entirely.
I think in some aspects it definitely, like, socially, it probably is.
Well, I think it gets reflected a lot in the way that Far From Home treats it, right? Because it's like Far From Home treats it like it was just like a one and done day thing, and then everyone's pretty much back to normal in terms of like how people travel between countries, and like how like all the kids at the school are processing stuff. Like, Peter Parker's really the only one who's like tripping out about having been gone for 5 years. Like, nobody else really is. They're all making pretty light of it, whereas I feel like a lot more realistically, people would be having like a lot of existential crises. A lot of countries wouldn't be on the same terms in terms of travel bans and this and that and the other thing. Cause it's like, well, when half the population of like Korea disappears, but only like a third of the population of another country next to it doesn't, what does that do to those two countries? Does the other one just get taken over? Like, we don't get to hear about any of that through Endgame. Feel like would be important to that scenario in a way.
I agree.
Because it's like all the people who are new Avengers, right? Who are helping out Nat. Like, they don't really talk about anything that's like a real problem for them to fix on the planet. Like the only person they're
Rhodey.
The only person they're. Well, what was he working on? I forget.
He had to go to Mexico.
But that was because of Ronan.
Yeah, but I'm pretty, if I remember right, he was talking about stuff that was going on over there with the government.
Okay. I mean, I guess it's just like you only get little hints, and there's no, like I said, it's dialogue heavy, not visual heavy.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where the main focus is really the Avengers and not the 5-year time skip aftermath of it.
Yeah.
Because if they wanted to show that stuff, then they wouldn't do the time skip. And then that would be, a very different film. from what we got. But yeah, for me, I think all the strong scenes, they definitely outweigh the bad scenes, excluding Thor, because that's its own separate thing, that you have to really contemplate about.
Thor is its own beast, man.
Yeah, I mean, the scene with him and Frigga is probably the best that you could get out of that.
Yep. Even though, you could have had another scene between him and Odin right there.
Yeah, but we never...
Technically, Odin was around.
During Dark World, wasn't he in his coma in Dark World?
No, he's in the coma in the first movie.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he goes. He does the Odin sleep in the first film.
Mm-hmm. But I like it with Frigga though. It was great to see them interact because we never really get that in the Thor. Yeah,
getting
trilogy.
More Rene Russo was pretty strong.
Yeah. The scene, it should have been played out differently on Hemsworth's part for acting on it, but him wanting to use the gauntlet to fix everything, I thought was a good scene for Thor. That's the strong moment for him. Yeah, I just wish it played out. I wish he acted it out a little bit differently.
Not like a joke.
not as drunk Thor. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted Thor. I didn't want Jeff Bridges in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and really like the first 2/3 of the film is what I like the most about it overall. And yeah, the back third with all the tying loose ends and moving stuff forward for the MCU is definitely not a big plus for the film.
Yeah, some
of it cool, but
very Iron Man 2-esque of universal setup.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Yep.
But it's one of those things that this movie had to do because it's such a big movie, and it's like you have to also set out for what's in the future. Action sequence were amazing, as of course in the third act, with the Trinity, fighting Thanos.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
And then I'll never have a more gratifying moment than seeing Cap pick up that hammer, man. That was super good. Like that, and that entire fight scene that happens like right after that, where he's just bashing Thanos with it and like zapping him with lightning and all kinds of stuff. I do still think we should have gotten Asgardian armor Cap when he picked up the hammer. I'm still of the mind and the opinion that we should have gotten a new suit design because one, that gives you more toys to sell, Disney. And then two, you get an awesome new Asgardian Captain America look. Like, come on. That would have been awesome.
And remember, it does have the Odin enchantment. Whoever wields this gains the power of Thor, so that would make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he should have gotten Thor's armor, which would have been dope. That would have been so cool. And can you imagine if one of them had like the Avengers A, like one of the circles, like on his chest?
Yeah, well, it would definitely be it would definitely look like his suit, but just
it would be like oh god, a patriotic version of Thor. Oh, dude. Can you imagine the cape being the American flag?
It would have been so good.
It would have. Oh, so we would have gotten Homeland essentially.
Essentially, yeah. Super anime stuff.
Oh man, that would have been just the icing on the cake. But I still love that scene, regardless of if he didn't get the armor or not. Gotta say, my boy Doctor Strange though didn't get his due in that final fight.
Yeah, it took a big step back. As did a lot of characters.
I gotta hold the water.
The only thing I would say is probably just because how he knew the future would play out, that he would have to take a step back.
Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like he probably could have just been like, "Hey Wong, can you come stop the water while I go fight?" Like, you also have like 100 or however many other sorcerers there that probably also could have done the same job. But I just wanted one more good scene of like Doctor Strange doing mystical stuff, like what he did in Infinity War, with like splitting into like the multi versions of himself and having like the sword of Ashanti and all that kind of stuff. It would have been nice to see him do a little bit, like maybe one more scene of hand-to-hand combat with some bad guys. Yeah,
I think it just has to they figured they had to pick some of the older cast to really shine in the third act.
Yeah, except for Hulk.
Yeah. But I mean, if we're gonna be fair,
suit.
you know, he was short one arm, so
Yeah, but he still could have pummeled a couple guys.
he still could have done something. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it would have been cool if he had, like, thrown Ant-Man when he was, like, tiny, and then Ant-Man, like, got big, like, as he was being thrown. You know what I mean? Like, you could have had something like that, like a fastball special, but with Ant-Man.
Yeah. Oof, man, if you want to talk about nightmares filming that movie, yeah, getting that scene down. The whole, everybody doing action sequences, yeah.
Oh, man. The Corridor Digital, their episode on that was pretty nuts.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
About, like, the entire fight scene. And I love that they point out, like, problems with, like, the gauntlet not fully rendering right and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's great. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it was all clipping into it. I mean, and that just comes down to what, you know, the time crunch with these films.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Give them more time, Disney. Give these movies more time, darn it.
Perfect example is, you know, Black Panther. They only had 6 weeks to do that final fight.
Oh, God.
And that is not enough time.
Such a shame, man. Such a shame.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that final villain should have been Claw. So, whatever.
That's a different discussion. Yeah.
Yeah, that was our 2018 discussion.
Yeah.
we talked about that already. But yeah, Endgame, man. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I think that's really all I have to say about it. Just again, yeah, the strong stuff really stands out to me. And plus the cinematography is really good in this film.
Yeah.
Even just in the early stuff, like that's when it was really impressive, like the shots, you know, over New York and the Hawkeye scene and like pretty much all that stuff before we really got into the time travel bits, like was really strong.
Yeah, I would say so. Mm-hmm. Very reminiscent of like Winter Soldier's cinematography and stuff.
Yes,
which makes a lot of sense because the Russos again coming back for it.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, that's gonna be it for me on Endgame. So Jake,
yeah,
your number one film.
I don't know if you would guess this. Do you just want to take a wild guess? I don't know. You guys might be able to guess it too. It's something I've been cosplaying for a minute here. I think you know what it is. It's Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker. No, I'm kidding. It's Shazam.
I thought it was The Irishman. Okay.
Yeah, The Irishman. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, but no, Shazam.
Yeah. Shazam, number one movie for me of last year of all the. I mean, that's what I wanted to mention. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood earlier, because technically that one's my number one movie, but that one's not my comic book movie of the year. You know, not my fun nerdy one. Shazam is for me just a perfect superhero movie. I had no problems at any point with the entire thing. Zachary Levi is a joy. He's wonderful as Shazam. Asher Angel as Billy Batson was perfect. Anytime they turn into each other, it's totally believable for me throughout the entire movie. Like there was never a disconnect for me between the two aspects of Billy Batson. You know,
I think it was good because when we see Billy as himself before he gets the Shazam powers, it's really him trying to be mature. You know, because he's been on his own, he's trying to find his parents. But then when such a crazy thing happens to him, then we break into his kid character, and then once he gets comfortable with it, then we really see who he is. That paced out really well.
Loose, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. And I love that this movie doesn't shy away from hard moments either. Like this one doesn't it doesn't sugarcoat anything that happens with the mom. You know what I mean?
It played out
like
so
the
well.
The mom scene is so well shot and well done. And I love that David F. Sandberg plays the boyfriend.
Yeah, that's right, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, like he does the voice of the boyfriend, which is hilarious to me. But it's just, the emotional moments are just so well executed. And, that moment where Shazam realizes how he can use the powers to give them to the other kids, I'm like, that's just cinematic poetry, man. It was just as good as the ending of like Speed Racer to me. Like the build up to that moment and how he's been learning about all of these aspects of these superpowers and everything. And at the very end, all of these messages come back to him and he remembers all of these teachings from like the wizard and like just all the experiences he's had so far, and it's just like, yep, that's it. I'm giving the rest of the kids the powers. Bam. And it's like, and when it works, and then they all come out of the smoke, it's so epic. Ugh, I haven't had like a cheering moment like that in a long time in a movie. Like other than like, Captain America with Mjolnir probably.
Yeah, honestly, I was surprised that I thought for sure they were just going to tease it in this one, but yeah, for them to do it. Oh, and I was going to say, and the actors portraying the kids as well was excellent.
Oh yeah. The guy who did Freddy was great.
Oh,
Like he's from, I think, the OC originally. I think is what Shannon told me at one point. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful stuff in this movie, man. I loved all the shots, the cinematography. I love the montage sequence where they're testing out his superpowers. I was like, man, we don't get moments like that in superhero movies anymore. Like just seeing a character have fun being a superhero, like, has been something that I think has been so sorely missing from superhero movies. At least for like a little while. Venom kind of played with it a little bit, but not as much. But I think it's just because we haven't had like a ton of origin story movies, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it would have been nice if Captain Marvel had a scene like this, where it was like she was learning about how to use more of her powers more and more throughout the movie. So it's like you get some montagey bits of her like lifting up cars or like accidentally blowing up like motorcycles or something. But
yeah. But remember, she doesn't learn anything in the movie, so
yeah, no, she doesn't learn anything. So
yeah, so we can't have that.
Yeah, she already knows how to use her powers at the beginning of the movie. I don't know. I just love the dynamic between Billy and all the other kids. I loved the foster parents are wonderful characters. Like
yeah.
Oh my goodness! Like they're such wonderful, just wholesome people, and like that's one of the main things I liked about this movie is that every character in the movie just feels so deep and they all have a history. Even like the side characters feel that way. Like I love the Santa Claus who keeps getting caught in the middle of these giant superhero fights. Like he's great. And then I love Mark Strong as Savannah. Like Savannah's beautiful as a character, and I love that they don't kill him. I love that they keep him around.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, he gets to keep on being a villain for the next like 2 or 3 movies. The Wizard was great. I loved the way they did the 7 Deadly Sins. I don't know, man. I just there's nothing for me about this movie that I just didn't like. It's just also so nice and beautiful and wonderful. And to top it all off, the cherry on top of this wonderful cake I'd been served was that it's a Christmas movie.
Yes.
Christmas movies are my favorite movies. So it is a Christmas classic. It will go on the shelf right next to like Die Hard, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and and Christmas Vacation, man. Beautiful stuff. I don't know. And I have a little bit of bias because me and Shelby and Shannon all got to go to the big premiere for the film and meet some of the actors and stuff. But I think just from like watching it as a movie, I still think it's just wonderful. I don't know. Especially for being made on such a low budget too.
Yeah, and that's how you know it's really a passion project at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David F. Sandberg really nailed what it meant to be like a kid as a superhero, man. Very good family-friendly movie, too. Go see it. Go check it out.
Just go watch it again. Yeah.
Just go watch it again. Just go find it on Blu-ray and go watch it. Oh, yeah. God, it's so good. Kind of criminal to me that it didn't make as much money as it should have at the box office, man.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you come out the same year as Endgame, right?
Yeah, as Endgame, and then Captain Marvel comes out like a couple weeks after or before your movie. Like,
Yeah, because remember, Captain Marvel made $1 billion, so.
But no, Shazam is my number one for the year. It's by far my favorite out of all these movies we've talked about, and I will watch that movie over and over and over. For me, it's on the same level as like the original Superman movie. with Christopher Reeve. Like Zachary Levi is just so darn perfect for the role. I love it.
Yeah, honestly, he is my favorite part of the film overall.
Which, you know, he should be. He's the main guy.
Yeah. And Zachary Levi's a great guy, too.
Yeah.
I listened to him on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast, and that was...
how was that episode?
Good stuff. Yeah, it was his... I think it was his second or third time on the show.
Sweet.
But they get really deep into Levi's problems that he's had in the past and all that, and his... But yeah, the parents were... Yeah, I like the parents, too. I was surprised they were as... well written as they were, you know, because usually those kind of characters, right? They're kind of like set in the background.
Yeah, no, it felt like everybody had like a good scene of focus. Like I love the security guard at the school that they trick.
Yeah, he had a fun bit too.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Officer Moron. It's Moran. That was great. I was like, oh, it's beautiful. I liked the aspect of this movie that like half the like almost all the stuff they're filming and doing is being put up on YouTube. Very aware of like modern day technology.
Yes.
I loved the references back to like all the other DC movies, even though they were just all like super subtle. Like it felt like very in theme with the movie. Like Shazam as a character feels like a character who could only happen in a universe filled with other superhero characters. You know what I mean? And
I do like how they played it off too during the dinner scene where the dad was like, "Well, hey, we got our own superhero."
Yep.
Yeah, like that. It just felt so good. Yeah, and again, them still being connected to the DCEU. Perfect.
Yep.
You know, no reason for any of the other heroes to really show up because, you know, where Shazam is not necessarily close to the other heroes, unlike the MCU.
Yeah.
So it doesn't suffer that problem, which is fine.
But then we do get one of the best cameos of another superhero, even though he's not even on screen all the way. It's beautiful.
Yeah, though it's not Henry Cavill, we still get Superman at the end, which was so good.
And I love that it's Zachary Levi's stunt double.
Yeah, that's great.
Playing that Superman. I was like, that's beautiful. So there's just so much for me to love about the movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
I even liked the end credit sequence. With all like the cartoony animation and stuff.
Oh yeah, that was such a good time. It felt like a 2008 movie at that point.
Yeah. Very much so. Like this could have come out at around the same time as like Iron Man 1. 100%.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't know, I really like there's that scene of like the kid like playing with like a Superman and a Batman action figure. And then Shazam flies by his window and he just drops them both. Like it's like
so good. Everything is well placed. Yeah, for those kind of shots. Yeah.
Oh man, it's just everything is so well planned out, and it's just you can tell that like they took their time and they thought about everything that happened in that movie. And I love that the whole thing of like the corridor digital thing that they showed off, where it's like, oh, there's a bunch of our crew members in the background, but we just photoshopped bags into their hands.
Yeah, I love that so much.
That was wonderful. It was like, oh, that's great. That's beautiful. I don't know. I don't really know what else to say about Shazam other than just go watch it.
Just go watch it again. Yeah.
I think this year's Shazam for me is probably going to end up being Sonic the Hedgehog. And they're very similar, you know, like they're in the same vein.
And I think my favorite part of Shazam is how refreshing it is. You know, that was one of the big things when we talked about Venom, was how refreshing it was compared to all the content we've been getting as far as superhero movies go. And that's mainly MCU stuff. But even to talk about this year, like, what we're gonna get later this year, Birds of Prey. You know, like those kind of movies, it's like, I'm all right. I want to see something that's different but refreshing at the same time.
Well, Birds of Prey, I would say, is still pretty different.
Okay.
It's definitely not like other superhero movies I've seen.
Oh, right.
You know, like it's very visually different, and it definitely has a different tone and style to it than anything in the MCU for sure. But yeah, no, I would agree with you. Shazam was just very like, it just wasn't an MCU movie, but in like all the best ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's always good to just, you could steer away from that every now and then.
Yeah. And then, hey, I love their tease, Society of Evil, with like Mr. Mind at the end.
Yeah.
Which is like something like only like 10 people might catch. Like,
yeah, literally, only 10 people probably caught that, yeah.
Yeah, they're like everyone else in the audience is like, who the heck is why is the worm talking? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, wonderful stuff, man. Shazam is just a it's just a good time. Took me back to childhood, with the way that it told its story and stuff. I mean, heck, even from like the very opening scene of Billy, like stealing the stuff from stealing the food from that cop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like, and the Annabelle creation doll shows up in there. Annabelle shows up in that scene. She's in that pawn shop.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that.
Yeah. She's on a shelf inside the pawn shop. It's like a blink and you'll miss it little part, but like I'm like, they threw it in there. That's cool. But makes me really excited for Shazam 2 and Black Adam and where they take this particular set of characters, man. But I think that's all I got on Shazam, man. That's all I got to say about it.
Yeah, and I think
because we did a whole episode. So
yeah, it's a long boy right here. Great stuff as always. But I think with that, yeah, it's gonna wrap us up. Next episode this week, as we're recording, the second My Hero movie is out in theaters right now.
Yes, and, currently.
We're planning on watching that sometime this weekend. So that
has a longer release schedule than the first one did, which is nice.
Big surprise, yeah. That's one thing. Since I did mention it in the beginning, One Piece Stampede. The only downside when that got released out here is like just a few days, and that's it. This one definitely has way more. Yeah. Yeah,
this one I was surprised that it wasn't just on Wednesday. That it's actually a full weekend of showings.
I think that's just My Hero in general. It does have a big audience out here in the West, unlike
it's surprisingly big for an anime.
Yeah, and as big as One Piece is, I still don't think the U.S. considers it huge out here, which is sad.
Yeah, I don't think it's at quite the same level as like Naruto or even Yu-Gi-Oh! In some cases.
But I think the problem is with the anime. I don't watch it, but I've heard that the anime is not the best adaptation for the manga. So that could be it. Yeah. But nevertheless, yeah, we're gonna watch that movie. So we'll probably talk about that on the next episode.
Do we have to talk about the movement of the podcast a little bit?
Oh, yes. Yeah. So if you guys saw the other day, I posted a very short episode out updating you guys on what's going on with the podcast. To sum it all up, we're moving away from SoundCloud. I think I like SoundCloud for the music stuff, but I think for podcasting wise, it's not necessarily the best place to go to. So we're no longer going to be posting on there. Everywhere else should still be fine. I've redirected the RSS feed and all that, so you should still be getting updates for the episodes. So basically, if you've listened to this episode, that means you're okay.
Yes. If you heard this one, you're good. You're solid.
Yes.
And then just stick with the channels that you're using if you listen to this episode.
Yes. And if you had to come here from SoundCloud, then we apologize. It's just we had to think of what to do for the future of the show and just had to move it off of SoundCloud because mainly financially their subscription base is not what I would like to keep doing forward. Libsyn has great options for that, so that's why we decided to go over there.
Any other movie knowledge you want to drop for the lovely people out there?
Yes, because we did not talk about it yet since between episodes we did get a set photo of one Woody Harrelson as Cassidy Cage. Is that his name?
Cletus Cassidy.
Or Cletus Cassidy.
Yes. Cassidy. Are you mixing up Nicolas Cage and Cletus?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking of right now.
Oh my God, Nicolas Cage is Cletus Cassidy. Oh,
I would love that. Yeah.
Can you imagine Nicolas Cage as Carnage?
Yeah, no, that would have been great. I mean, I always remember it was let's get Jim Carrey, but no, I would get Nick Cage easily.
Yeah, Nick Cage would have been a trip, man. That would have been I think he might be a little too old for it at this point. Like if they had gotten him into it, like,
age-wise,
4 or 5 years ago, probably would have been perfect. But no, Woody Harrelson. Well, he looks like a character.
He looks like a character from 2003,
which is great.
Yeah.
Oh, so me and my roommate had a thing about this. I was like, what if they reveal? Oh, I think it was, or maybe it was with you. Like, I was like, what if they reveal that these Venom movies, like, they have just taken place in like 2003, 2004?
Oh,
like,
yeah, we talked about this. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
If that was their option, yeah, it would have been great to see.
Like, because I don't know if they've really shown too many like cell phones or anything of anybody like in the movie. I'd have to rewatch the first one again to see if they really make a big deal about it.
They don't explicitly say what year it is, I don't think, but it would have to be in the beginning, before Tom Hardy gets fired.
So I don't know, but that would be a heck of a trip, and would just add more fuel to my conspiracy fire of these are just part of the Tobey Maguire universe.
Oh, that too, yeah. As much as I want it, it would be great.
I know, I understand the actual path that Spider-Man's going down for these movies, but man, just bring back Tobey, darn it.
I think that was like the biggest thing that I saw. So there's anything else we could say for the next episode, of course.
Yeah. I think there's some other news stuff, but it's all kind of smaller bits. I know there's like other set photos from like the Suicide Squad that came out, but like nothing big. I know John Cena has been pictured on set for that movie, in like dad shorts and like dad sneakers.
Oh, okay.
Did you see those pictures at all?
Nuh-uh.
Okay. Well, I'll see if I can find them before we disappear here. But yeah, so that looked kind of interesting. I don't know who he's supposed to be. I would assume he's some lower tier DC superhero character that we don't know about. It would be awesome if he was like Sportmaster. Like that would be absolutely hilarious if he ended up being Sportmaster. So I don't know, we'll see. Oh, they've got him in a couple shots here in like full orange, like he's in the prison. Interesting. These are not the ones that I saw before, though. These are different. Like him and Idris Elba are coming out of the prison, along with the Viola Davis's character from the first movie.
Amanda Waller?
Yeah, Amanda Waller. So they must be two of the first people she assembles in the team. But I can't find the picture right now, so I'll send it to you. But there is a picture out there of John Cena, like dad shorts and stuff, floating around.
Okay. Yeah, that's something.
Yeah.
So yeah, with that, we're going to wrap up here for tonight.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, so thanks for listening, guys, as always. If you listen to previous episodes, yeah, I mean, we're really just hyped for Bloodshot, which is coming out soon. Morbius, Venom 2, Wonder Woman 84, I might check out. Yeah, I think I'm going to see Black Widow, but probably not Eternals.
Yeah, I don't know which ones of these I'm going to watch yet, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really have any pizzazz for any of them. I'm honestly like Eternals is only interesting to me because it's such a different concept than anything they've worked on so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like I'm interested to see it not as like a Marvel movie, just as like its own movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it connects to other stuff and everything, then I don't really care. But that might be the only one I give a chance just because I'm like, it's different. It's got a whole cast of characters I've never seen before in it. So
yeah, exactly.
I'll give that one a shot. But like Black Widow, I don't really care about. I don't really care about any of the Marvel movies coming out next year, like Shang-Chi or anything. I got nothing.
Right. Oh yeah, of course, New Mutants. That's coming out soon too.
Oh yeah, New Mutants. We got to do an episode about that one. Holy moly!
Yeah, man.
And I feel like maybe we should call in our boy Toby for that one.
Yeah, Toby is super pumped for New Mutants. Would love to have him on as well. Yeah, that'd be a good time.
I think that would be a good talk.
Yeah,
that would be good.
Yeah, so while we look out for those and future episodes, guys, remember it's MarvelTalkCast on Instagram to stay updated on episodes. MarvelTalkPodcast@gmail.com for any question, comments, concerns. and all the like of that. Jake, where can we find you at?
Oh, you guys can find me anywhere on the internet at Corruption Cosplay with K's. Where can we find you, Danny?
Hey man, of course you can always find me at Negator7 anywhere on social media. I just dropped a milk review on Instagram.
Yes, you did. That's some good stuff, man.
Yeah, that was a fun time to plan out and work together. Yeah, I had to take a break from Sobeys to get that in.
Yeah, you gotta follow in the Shelby footsteps and drink the milk, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So with that, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Thanks for listening. And until next time, stay Avengers strong. Yeah, all I do is Sobe. It's the whole point here, buddy.
You are Sobe. Danny is composed not of 80% water, but he is 80% Sobe.